The Virgil Raid. Vega 2. The Lost Squad. These are the names of the groups, places, and events that have made history. But what of the men and women who fought in them? Sacrificed so much. This year, we honor these men and women in a week of service. Seven Days of Valor. The 7 Days of Valor honor those who've served in the armed forces. Join us as we remember their actions and give back. This year, we're raising money for Stack Up, an organization that helps veterans through the community and common experience of gaming. To find out more, go to stackup.org. Together, let's remember the honor, dedication, and valor of the men and women who kept us safe.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Asylum. Good evening to you all. Hope you're all well. I will apologise in advance if A, my microphone is muted, which is normal, and secondly, if... Why is it coming out twice? Someone else's. If it starts buffering, someone has decided to watch TV at the same time as I stream, and it's killing my internet. And even though I keep telling them to stop, they're not listening. So the video you just saw was, I don't actually know who made it, but it's being used by the Astropub and a lot of other streamers in support of the Stack Up charity, which is it's the 7 Days of Valor is the campaign, which is like an in-game lore thing, and they're mirroring it in real life with a charity sort of event. So if you do ! Oh, it's just come up by itself there. ! Donate if you're interested in trying to donate towards that and showing some support, and ! Astropub if you have no money to donate but you wish to spread the word. You can go and upvote his post up on the Spectrum. So yes, please go and help those veterans around the world and in New Zealand and Australia as well, apparently. So yeah, it's NATO and Australia and not America. Did I say America, Australia and New Zealand? I meant who knows. So yeah. So this week, guys, we are joined by the man that can talk to the dead and still have more to say, Mr. SuperMacBrothersRyan. We have the bear that's never there, Mr. Tobitege.
Hello.
And the goat that doesn't float, Mr. Bockbiertje. I couldn't think of anything better for that one, I'm afraid.
As the way through it all.
I will remember this one. The goat that doesn't float.
It's the best I could come up with, I'm afraid. Yeah, so the we're also testing out the same thing that Madness did last week, but it seems to be working better for me because I know what I'm doing and he doesn't. But there we go. So we've come. So if there's any problems, we'll blame it on that. But otherwise, yes, welcome everybody. Thank you, Mr. HC Vertigo, for the raid. And also, if you do the ! donate, we've linked the actual donation page to Vertigo's Just Giving page, Stack Up page, because he's always been a guest for a long time on the Asylum, and he's actually in the actual program. I think I missed the thing with Paul when he actually asked if I wanted to join. I think I was working and stuff. So each individual streamer, I think, has got their own donation page. So yeah, if you go and donate on there, that'll add towards HC Vertigo's total. So there we are. That's that bit done. So how are you guys? Mac, how are you doing? What have you been up to?
Great. Been streaming today with, luckily, I had one 15,006 issue and then got in for 4 hours straight while I streamed, which I had completely forgotten about that issue. So yeah, I'm quite happy about that, and it went quite well today. Yeah, just the same old thing. I'm doing the videos, doing the streams, and living life.
Living life to the full.
Well, no, don't push it. No, just
as full as it gets up there.
living a little bit of life. Yeah.
Up north. And up north, that's it, living it as full as it gets up north. Mr. Tobitege, we haven't seen you online, or we've seen you online, everybody sees you online, but we haven't seen you on a podcast or in game for a long time.
Yeah, I think
Where have you been up to?
my last stream was a lot, I think in January, and ever since I'm still waiting for the new flight model. Now, I was pushing it always, okay, 3.0, okay, wait for 3.1, okay, wait for 3.2.
Don't mention the flight model.
No? Oh, okay.
No, you
All right,
don't. I mean, the chat don't mention it to you.
Maybe I will be back soon.
Okay,
Maybe
so-
even this year.
Oh,
I don't know.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah,
you heard it here
a
first,
date?
guys.
Give us dates like CIG.
yeah, give
Yeah,
us
this
dates that you
century.
can not stick to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bockbiertje.
Yeah, I've been battling error 15006 since this weekend, actually. That's all that I did.
How is that for you?
Well, the same as for the rest of Europe. It's hard. No, it's yeah, too bad that it happened in the weekend. That it hasn't been solved yet, but life goes on. So now I'm here joining the podcast and having some fun with you guys.
You are. And we do have an announcement to make. Both Bockbiertje and Tobitege himself has now decided, for some weird reason, we drugged them and basically they don't realise what they've agreed to, but they have decided to join the Asylum team full time. So I'll welcome them aboard. And also I think, I can't remember his code, but Jester. I can't remember his org. He has his org name in front, doesn't it? But Jester is also joining us as well. So the Asylum team is expanding. Hopefully you should see some more faces on the podcast a bit more, because I'm sure you're fed up with just seeing Madness, myself, and mostly Mac and Vertigo. So it's good to get some other opinions on board. So yeah,
Opinions
welcome
that
to you
actually
guys.
matter.
Yeah, opinions that know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
We are bringing the pepper for all the salt, so.
It's
I
like when
bring
you've
the
got
milk and cookies.
That's it. You got to when you've got madness with such a high pile of salt, you got to get somewhere to balance it out a bit. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know, it's great to have you guys on board, and we should hopefully be doing some more streaming together as well. Is hopefully the plan. And
yes.
also, basically, I've just got them on board so that they can do all the work for me and save me having to do the document, which failed
That's
this
how
week
it works.
because I don't think they
How did
added
that
anything.
work out for you?
Yeah, not very well, because I don't think you guys added anything. So it's great.
We didn't get paid. Come on.
Do you think
We
I
need
do?
to talk about it.
Oh dear. Yeah, that doesn't really happen. So I forgot to mention, if you are watching this on YouTube, also the links to the stack up and everything else will be in the chat underneath. The question form, which I did mean to go and open, and I don't think I did. That's twice I failed to do that. Or did I?
If you're watching this
Exclamation
on
mark.
YouTube, it might
No.
mean that the 15,006 error is sorted by now.
And you can play.
Yay! And
Woohoo.
3.3.5 is out as well, so that's excellent news.
Yeah, depending on when you're watching this on YouTube, it may well, the whole game may
Yeah.
well be live. So
Watch
welcome
it in
to
a couple
Star
of weeks.
Citizen, folks. We're glad you're enjoying Star Citizen live. And all that
Yay.
lot. But so yeah, exclamation mark question in chat. Please make sure you chuck your questions at us. Mostly ask, when is Toby going to fly again? Because I'm sure he would love to give a detailed explanation of when he's going to return. So make sure you get those questions.
Now, do they?
No. So yeah, I mean that's something we can talk right off the bat. Obviously, we had a bit of an update on what's coming in 3.35, what's coming in 3.4, and what's going to be delayed. So we did talk a little bit last week about how we thought that they were going to do a 3.4 light patch, just because they're going to have no time to do everything, and it kind of appears that that's what we're going to be getting. So I think, I mean, overall, I think we kind of said last week that we wasn't too fussed about that. It wasn't too bad. We kind of expected ArtCorp to go. We kind of expected.
Yeah.
I don't know if we said the female models, but we did say a few things. One thing that we're pretty disappointed with, I think, is the flight model
Big
being
time,
pushed back.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a huge shame.
That is I remember we were, because like you say, the art core was still scheduled to be worked on. There wasn't any tasks written down as to what they need to do.
Yeah.
So seeing that, you can just be like, well, that's fine. We'll have Hurston to explore. I'm okay with that. We've got plenty to do there. But then I was really concerned with the flight model because it wasn't on the roadmap. So there wasn't really a set date, but they did say they're going to try and get it in for 3.4. And that, I feel, is, like yourself, Tob, is holding a lot of people back completely from playing the game, because it just feels awful doing any form of combat or flying or shooting. So that's a disappointment. But
I mean, pretty much the whole competitive branch of pilots, they are all waiting, and they are waiting, and even AC is not working nicely as it should or could, and so everybody is now complaining. Okay, a full year without a working pip, so to speak.
Well, it was a year before a patch. Now it's just a year without working pips.
It's just as bad, though.
Yeah, it is.
Your eyes are scratching.
I mean, I don't know if anyone
for different reasons, but still the end effect is the same.
Yeah.
It's I mean, we had a lot of fun in 2.6.3 with all the bugs we had there, but now in retrospect, it looks, or it was funnier than it was at the time, probably. But compared to flying in the 3 branch, it was more fun. So
I don't know if anyone in chat tried the flight model at CitizenCon, but that's kind of what surprised me, because I thought when they had I know it wasn't a full working model, but they had a reasonably good working model at CitizenCon. I thought they were closer to getting it out. It sounded and felt like they were closer to getting it out than it seems they are.
They're not actually that far off, though. Like, if you look at the roadmap on, is it 3.5 now, isn't it? It
should be,
Tech, they're actually 113 out of 141. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
But it's just not in time for December, which kind of sucks, because then it feels like another... Like, when is the first patch? Is it March?
Yeah.
Like, it's probably going to be ready in January, end of January, February, something like that. But are they going to wait to deploy it for March? I would like for them to just put it out to us as soon as it's done, because it's not just now next year, it's 3 months in next year.
Then they have to let go of the whole 3-month schedule thing, which is fine with me. But
well, they've already shown that they're happy to do that to allow what we've been getting now. It depends if it's something that they can kind of put in, like they're planning on doing with 3.35, rather than needing a whole major patch, or whether it's such a big patch that it would have to be included as a patch on its own.
3.4.5.
I don't think it would help them to do another interim patch like as it is now. It's just holding back too much stuff, and it's creating a backlog. So I hope they will just do it. Okay, we have to do 3 months time and do it thoroughly.
Yeah, no, true. It is best to get something in a good
But
state.
it didn't mean like an interim patch, more just like if it's ready, will it be possible for them to just go, well, it's ready now, let's put it on the server? I mean, they might not, like you said, maybe that would cause too many, even in case it causes bugs.
Would be Vocati and then PTU as normal, not put it out first.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't have it separate from anything else.
Yeah,
it would have to go to Evocati first, definitely. So, yeah, you're probably right. They'll probably just, I mean, it gives them more time to polish it and to make sure it's working how they want. Whether they would, because they wouldn't want to run the PTU server for a long time either, I would have thought. Because the flight model is definitely going to be something that I think you're going to need as many people as possible trying it to get, because I imagine they're going to want feedback on it again as well, rather than just bug fixing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's not just your typical feature, is it? It isn't just make sure this is working all right. It's make sure this actually feels correct. But then, who do they ask? Like, I personally would be the worst person to ask about the flight. I don't know. I can tell if something doesn't feel right or if it does, but I don't know what it is that's not feeling right, and I don't know what it is that would make it feel right. You know, someone who is good at flying or has knowledge in that area, fair enough, but not me. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean,
I forget everything.
Well, you have to get used to it, right?
Yeah. I think there's a problem, isn't it? We've had
counts.
that with flight mechanics before, haven't we? It's like people slag them off on day one. It's like, oh, these are terrible, and then it's like, well, you need to actually learn how to fly with these new mechanics to say whether it's any good or not.
Yeah. There is definitely a learning curve. It was with 263, and it will definitely be with the new flight model.
Yeah.
So.
And it needs to be. And don't forget, it's not just a learning curve for the flight model. It's a learning curve for each ship.
Exactly.
And that's going to encourage people to use one ship only.
That's definitely going to make that a lot harder to get feedback as well, because they've intentionally made each ship feel different. They want each ship to feel different. So it's going to be totally different from a fighter jumping in this single-seater Hornet and buzzing around, and then jumping into, like, say, a Caterpillar or a bigger ship like that, and then thinking, this doesn't fly the same, it's broken. And, I mean, I already get that with, like, say, jumping in the Reliant or something. So it's, that's going to be hard to get feedback.
They said, didn't they, that ships that are asymmetrical are going to feel terrible in the atmosphere.
But it's fucking terrible anyway.
Well, yeah. Could it be any worse? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to trying that out. I don't think a ship like my Caterpillar will be affected too much because it's a big shape with a slight difference. Whereas something like the Glaive is the majority of, or the highest percentage of the ship is different.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. It'll be hilarious taking these different ships down into, especially the big ships, down into atmosphere and seeing how they work.
I can just imagine them dropping like stones.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's what they said with the Reclaimer, right? Those big VTOLs will probably, fuck most people up when descending.
Never stand underneath the Reclaimer as it's coming into land.
Yeah.
Because I don't crash enough. So that was the only thoughts that went through my head when they were showing it and saying how difficult it is to control an atmosphere. It's like, because I don't crash enough. I needed it more difficult in fucking atmosphere. Thanks.
I still piss myself laughing whenever I think of us all sitting down. I think it was Artcore Mining 141, and we're all happily getting on, just doing our own thing, and then fucking miserable arrives. I did. In a prospector.
It was like the worst trolling ever. It's like I logged on Mac's server. I tried to get him to get his attention. He just totally ignores me because he nibbles everybody when he's on there. So he was like with his group on his stream, and then he went all the way out mining. It took me ages to find out where on the fucking planet he was mining. And I thought, there he is. Let's go down in front of him and then just stop in front of his stream and like make him mine something else. And all I did instead was just fucking crash. You could just see I just saw it on his stream. You could just hear him talking and everything else, and all of a sudden this explosion in the background.
Because it's so obtrusive. Like when you're just doing something and it's nice and calm and everything's good, and then all of a sudden there's this huge explosion in close proximity. Everybody stops and looks.
Yeah.
And what we need now is for the body of you to just be either resting or flying. Purple and orange flight suit.
I think people, Buck maybe say, don't be on the planet when I'm flying. It's best to like have a radius around me, just miles away. In fact, just go on a different server until server meshing's here. Just join a different server, and then when we got server meshing, you have to think of a different way. It's been, I don't even know. Was it with you, Mac, that I was doing it the other day, and someone was listening to just your stream? Was it? And it's just all you could hear. Oh no, it may have been madness actually. All they could hear was me in the background going, I didn't need that wing anyway. Oh shit, no, I didn't need the nose anyway. Like you couldn't see me because I just joined him on his stream and I was trying to fucking land the ship, and all you could hear was like just pieces of my ship falling off as I tried to land. I'll get there one day. I don't know. And this is, I mean, I could blame it that I'm not on my HOTAS. That I'm sure that'll make me better.
Right.
It's whenever it is a bug. You always just know that if you've done it so many times, the excuse isn't going to wash. Even though it's a genuine bug that's caused it to happen. Like, the toggle with flight and landing mode. That is a bug. Because I don't have that on as a toggle. I have that on as I do have it on as a... I'll have to get a beer. I know what I'm saying, but...
I quit.
No.
I'm getting a beer.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Usually for me, the crashing has something to do with streaming. I'm paying more attention to my Twitch chat than the actual flying. And I had it last week, and I was just chatting away with the guys in chat while doing a very low, fly routine on the surface while I just hit the rock.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. That was quite funny.
Oh, you were there, yeah.
Yes, I was there for that.
Shit.
He's the one who distracted you.
Yeah, it's like capital letters. Block over here, over here.
It was you and Jester, both of you.
But on a positive note, now 3.3 was basically one of the biggest hurdles till now, and it took quite a while in EvoCaD before it went into PTU. I think with the next, with 3.4 or 3.5 even, then it should be, a faster pace, I would say, or the biggest technical issues, I think, are now pretty much done. So we hopefully will have earlier access than the last time, where it was really close.
I think they've said that the middle patches, so June or July and September patches are the big patches. So we still have to do the server side object container streaming. This is the client, isn't it? There's still the server side, which I think is probably just as important as this one. And then it's things like persistence, organization, server meshing, which is probably going to be one of the biggest, but that's a little way off. But the next sort of patches we get, so 3.3.5, well, we can ignore that for now, but the 3.4, 3.5, they should just come along quite quick. They're not like major patches, like you say. They're not core tech that is imperative to making the game work as such. But then maybe the middle two of next year will be when we get the bigger ones.
And when you say like come on quick, I think basically you mean in terms of we've had this one being delayed, and it was literally delayed because of the tech. Whereas the stuff that's coming out in the next couple of patches is just features and locations and things like that. And so they can easily stick to the schedule that they were kind of having before, which is if it's due to come out on such and such a date, we'll release it with whatever's ready on that date. They don't need to hold the patch back to get something finished. They'll just release it with what it's got. So that's kind of what we mean by that, I think.
And I'm glad that they're. I mean, like you say, 3.3 was a big patch, and that's why I can be kind of like, okay, I don't mind. They can take the time over it because we know it's important. It's a shame things are getting pushed back in 3.4, but if that's what it takes to get that out, and 3.4 still comes on time, then I'm happy. I don't need hardcore.
Yeah,
we don't need females, do we?
We don't need females.
No.
Virtual ones? No.
But yeah, it's. I mean, even with 3.35, I know it's supposed to come in 3.3, but when you think of what they're adding, the amount of stuff they're adding in there, like the size of Hurston, the whole city itself and everything else it's quite a lot of like the fact that OCS has made it so that they can actually do that and we can still play it without 1 frame per second is a nice thing.
Yeah, no, I've found, especially today and yesterday, apart from the obvious, what do we call this error? Do we call it 15,006 or can we just call it like 1506? Quick.
We need to think of a name for it, like the Europe
15K.
Buster.
It's not Europe though. It's everywhere, isn't it?
Oh, is it everywhere
world
now?
buster.
Is it? I thought it was only Europe.
No,
Everyone
people are
seemed to
saying
think
it's
it was Europe.
US as well.
Okay.
Oh, the workaround is for US and Asia.
But not the Europe.
1506 or 1506. That's too much. We'll do it the American way. 1506.
15K6, yeah.
15K6. Whatever.
But yeah, apart from that,
The fucking error. That's what we're calling it.
Does everybody know which error we're talking about? I'm pretty sure. The error. It should just be called the error.
Yeah.
The
the
error.
error.
Yes.
The error of 3.3. Forever shall it be known.
Yeah, it's going in the history books for Star Citizen.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, it's good. It's really good, and it's frames-wise good as well.
It's funny. That's what they said on the Spectrum. It's basically like, yes, we know about the error. We don't need another 15,006 posts about the error. But it's
people are gonna be people.
Yeah,
of course. But no, as you're saying, it was a big patch, and I think people are saying it's like basically one of the bigger major patches we've had, and I think realistically, out of all the patches we've had in the past, it's definitely one of the biggest because of the fact that the frame rates are allowing people to play the game, and that's been putting people off for a long time. So, the flight model's putting people off, but I think even more the frames probably, because without those you can't do the flight combat anyway. So yeah, I do think this is a thing that's bringing people back, and hopefully, I mean, overall the feedback for 3.3 has been pretty damn good. I think there's not been too much negativity.
And more frames are always better pressed.
Yep.
No matter the content. So
yeah.
Who needs content when you've got frames?
Yeah. Who needs a flight model?
Well, Toby.
Who needs flight in the space game? We're all gonna. I mean, last week Mad Rambo was asking if we're going to sell packages that are just land only and no flight. So yeah, who needs flight mechanics?
Well, it is more of a land game now, anyway. So
yeah,
there are
with
people who are not gonna fly.
There's more land than there is space.
There's definitely a few people we can think that should not be flying.
There's definitely a few.
That's a different story. Yeah.
only under supervision.
Yeah.
Big L on the roof.
Yeah, big learner tag.
Don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
A reverse shield around the ship.
So anyone that is having
ship, it protects us.
Inflatable
errors.
bumper.
Anyone that is having those errors, apparently that link there is supposed to be a workaround. Whether it works or not, I don't know.
Oh shit! There's no workaround for
I
this.
haven't tried it, but most people are saying if you just keep spamming it, it'll get you in eventually. So there you go.
Or install a VPN and try.
I'm just gonna wait, to be honest.
I'll just play Vacati instead.
Yeah.
They will figure it out in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All the data. I mean, that don't forget they gather so much data from us that they'll see patterns, they'll see the reason why it's happening, and the rotator split will come off, and they'll get the catalytic converter and put that back in again, and all the tech sorted again.
So yeah, apparently it's not working because it's fucked every region. We basically spread our invasion and we fucked every region up now, so it's nowhere works.
By the time tomorrow, they will have a fix. Hopefully earlier, sooner.
Like now.
So have you got? How many of you actually managed to play 3.3? It's only been you then, I suppose, Mac.
A bit,
yeah. So the VoIP is now working. I noticed you were using it again today, Mac.
Yeah, VoIP is working really good. VoIP I haven't tried too much because I stream with a camera and I don't have the second one.
Yeah.
But some people were using it, but I couldn't see them. Is Face over IP still client rather than server?
I think it still is. Yeah.
Okay. That sucks.
So,
But
yeah.
then someone said, I think it was Captain Plasma, and he's like, "Oh, am I pulling a face?" And all I can hear is him going, and his face is remaining
The usual.
Like, yeah, like you don't need to make noises.
But
That
you had
doesn't
Chewie.
change. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, you could pull a face without actually making a noise.
Yeah.
Try miming it.
I don't need like an audible explanation as to what you're trying to do.
Ah.
But he did that over VoIP with everyone else listening, and it was like, just shut up.
Mute.
It's funny, when I was walking around Port Olisari yesterday, when I was actually in the game, there was this one single guy, and I put my voice over IP on global, and I went like, and ran in circles across the guy.
So that was you, right? Okay.
That
I'll
was
put a
me,
little
yeah.
mark in the
Pretty
book.
dumb, isn't it?
Oh. But no, the actual VoIP side of things, I think we talked about it a little bit before on the podcast, but it's when you see it in action and how it's working, they've, like we said, that it has to be pretty special to pull you away from using Discord and things like that. And I would say, to me, it seems pretty fun, and working when it works pretty well, that it could well pull you off of Discord to use it, I would have thought. I don't know what you guys think.
It's just a starting point, isn't it?
Because I mean, we played, was it Dying Light for Halloween, and we put the voice over IP thing on in there, and it sounded really cool, but we also had a lot of issues where it just felt when it wasn't working for everybody. I can't remember. So in the end, it was like, well, actually, I think it was when we got distance from each other, so you couldn't hear each other. I
think Madness was doing.
May have been, but it just made me think, you know what, that's not going to work. So we went back onto Discord again. So it's going to be challenging to get it to stop people using Discord. It's the way they've handled it so that if you're too far away, you can still hear each other with the sort of radio noise, sound quality to it. I think is good. It works, and it's going to need something like that in order to get people to use it. But I presume, I mean, realistically, even without the having like the using it full time, say like as a group thing, it's still going to be, I would have thought, used in terms of to proximity. So if I was using Discord with friends that I was playing with, I would probably still want it on for like proximity chat, because that's one of the things we miss out the most, like hearing Bock running around going, blah, 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 blah. Like you wouldn't hear that if you had Discord.
You can just walk out of the proximity.
It's stereo. You just hear it going for your like surround sound as he runs rings around you.
The stereo effect did seem to work when it was in PTU.
It does.
Starburger and me did a test, and it was working quite well.
Yeah, we were playing with Oxize, and it worked with 2 or 3 different people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure if you want to have this radio voice for like 2 or 3 hours in your head. I think it would stir me crazy.
I don't mind. But
sometimes the effect is very harsh.
I think that's when they're further away.
It differs. Yeah.
Take your helmet off.
Yeah, in front of the door, sure.
Yeah, it's like, do I listen to this or just end it?
I can't hear you.
But it is definitely, for a first iteration as well, when it finally works, I think the comms sound good. They do sound interesting. There needs to be different rooms and so forth. So you're not all like, I'm hearing the people who are protecting our prospectors communicating between themselves, and I'm just trying to talk to chat, and it's like but proximity wise, when we get big ships with big bridges and you're walking around a ship and you're just passing people in the corridor going, hiya, and they're going, hiya, and then you go into the bridge and you can hear a conversation in the distance. You can hear yourself talking to the person that you're talking to, but it's not overpowering from the pilot and whatnot. That's when it's going to come into its own. And using Discord is going to ruin that for a lot of people. Or not ruin it, because they just won't hear that experience. But I think having something like Discord, so if you go into Korea at the moment and they shoot you, you lose comms, first thing you'll do is jump on Discord and go, by the way, guys, there's someone in there who's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And like that's what ruins it. But nobody is likely to stop that from happening, because they don't want everyone else in their community, their group, to die as well. But
And I do think that's what will happen. I think it's a nice feature, and I think it will be used for talking to people you don't know and talking to people that you run into. As a group thing, I just don't think they're going to beat Discord or having some form of constant open communication, because that was partly what was happening in Dying Light. We were too far away. It's like, oh, fuck this. I need to tell you something, and so I need to end up going back onto Discord to do it. And another good example of that is I played the Fallout beta with a friend of mine who also had VoIP in there, so we just used the group VoIP. The problem was, because it's beta and we were testing things, like as soon as I logged out, I couldn't talk to him anymore. So we're both online. It's like, oh shit, I forgot. So I can't tell him, did this work, doesn't this work? I then had to go onto Discord, type to him and say, is this working? So that I could go back in. So there's always going to be that error that if you log out but you still want to have a conversation, you can't talk to your friends. Now, I know they said Spectrum integration is possibly going to get around that. If they turn Spectrum into a Discord, then maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a while. Some updates about Spectrum and mobile stuff, and
that would be
You
who
name
is
it.
it? Turbulent, is it?
Turbulent, yeah.
I mean,
So-
what else are they doing? Let's be fair.
They're certainly not making a good website.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the only way that would pull people from Discord properly, I think, is if they made a proper integration on Spectrum. But it then does mean building your community up and getting your community all the way over to Spectrum, and yeah.
Starting to do it now. It's like with my org, especially. I'm trying to build up all the divisions and things in Spectrum because, like, they have proper websites, that are fully developed for their orgs. But that's not going to be integrated like Star Citizen will integrate theirs, and that is important. And I'm trying to get more of my org members on Spectrum. Like every time I post something up there, I'll go into Discord in the org section and just tell people to fucking get over to Discord to Spectrum and remember to read and because that is where it's going to go, and that's what CIG want. It's just taking its time, and it's the same for VoIP. Things will develop further. We're just basing it off of tier 0, tier 1, as things develop further, they are going to be far more advanced and user-friendly and exactly what we need. And we're going to be the ones shaping what they actually create for us because we're the ones demanding it as such. So it's important that way.
Goodness, and they obviously have the vision for Spectrum and everything to be a big major part of it. So it's just getting people over to it, I think. And I suppose at the moment, apart from a lot of salty chat, there's not a lot to kind of pull people in at the moment. But I think once we start seeing, because we are supposed to be able to do like communication on Spectrum into someone's Moby Glass and things like that. So if we start seeing that sort of integration, I can definitely see me sitting on Spectrum a lot more and actually using that. Just a way to get on a fucking, especially with Mac, because he just ignores everything. It's like you need something that literally flashes in his face before he'll actually answer you.
Do you know, for some reason, since I updated my phone, Twitter doesn't, even if you DM me, it doesn't pop up with. Well, actually, DM does, but normal one doesn't pop up and tell me that thing. So I'll go on Twitter just to like, everyone's really quiet. And it's like, oh, for fuck's
I missed that 3 days worth of tweets.
Yeah,
No.
what's going on?
just stick on a beer bottle. Then he will know. He will respond.
I'll come running. Even in Cardiff, I'll hear it over here.
Probably. So, is there anything you guys that's seen in the community or anything that you want to talk about? We do have one question already. No? Okay. So we have one question from...
to us? No,
Yeah,
sorry.
I asked you first of all. And then I said, anyway.
Where?
I don't know.
What?
Is that part of the document?
Starburger. What? No, I said, do you guys have anything that you've read in the community this week that you want to talk about? It's like things that you see on Twitter,
Error,
Facebook.
1566.
006.
That's what I read.
It's a British one. Bond.
Just a stuffer.
So Starburger asks, if there's going to be a coffee machine in the Hab, what fictional brand should it be, the coffee? Now, if this was tea, I'd be right there with you talking about this discussion. But as it's coffee, I'll yeah, whatever. It could be whatever brand you want.
Oh.
Douwe Egberts.
Who?
Douwe
Egbert.
Bless you.
Bless you. Oh, fuck you.
I That's all they hear. It's like,
I was thinking, I have to decipher what he just said there. I reckon somewhere like Microtech would do a good one because they have workers that need to be really. Oh no, they'd get the shakes, wouldn't they? If they drank too
PG
much coffee.
tips.
PG
That's
tips,
not
yeah.
coffee.
That's
We're
what
talking
coffee
about
want.
coffee, nasty.
Tassimo.
Not tea.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
call tea Alpis, and it stays that way. Sorry.
So, do you know we announced earlier in today that we had new members of the Asylum? We've now lost one. I forgot about this. This was one hurdle that I forgot he needed to climb, and he hasn't. I can imagine Nasty B getting a PG Tips tea bags and putting it in one of those coffee machines and just running the hot water through. Just put the tea bag in and see if it works.
Vaping away.
Yeah, why not? If it fits.
That's not the law.
That's not the law.
Trying to poison me.
We will have, so by this time next year, no, probably not, we'll make sure that Bock has had enough tea to convert it. When he comes over to CitizenCon, we're going to make him chew on tea bags.
CitizenCon and BritizenCon. So you have double your chances.
Double the chances, yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. As I don't know, coffee. Are you on about real world coffee? Are you on about fictional?
I was thinking
ones.
fictional, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Widow, maybe they do a coffee brand.
Widowgast.
To counter the alcohol that they produce. So you take a drink of coffee or a shot of espresso and it's like, oh, all that Widow I drunk last night? Meh. No effect.
It's fine. Yeah, it's a special like coffee bean that just takes it all away.
Yeah. Also
so-
known as a death pill.
Just kill me now, Bill. Madness posted, I think this was from last week, I don't know. Someone posted all the concept ships that were, I think, that were out this year. Let me just get the picture up if I can find it. So I'm going to try and... Mac will probably know more than I do. But there's the Kraken at the back, which is the one obviously we saw at CitizenCon. You have those... Crack in the back.
The Fleet Viewer?
Quack, quack.
This is someone's just... yeah, maybe one of the Fleet Viewer things.
Yeah, I think I put it there.
So
yeah,
this
Lon
is...
Pokey, he's doing his Fleet Viewer tool, put it always to good use, and you can see easily now, okay, we have 1 year and how many ships we already got.
Yeah.
That's true. It's a lot.
We have bought and still wait for them in the hangar, as usual.
Yeah.
So you basically see the next 3 years of ships to come.
Although the Mustang, straight away. Didn't even know that was coming. And the
Yeah, the
Valkyrie.
Mustang, yeah.
Right,
Mustang.
right, that was a surprise.
Really nice surprise. So we've got the Hercules in the background, the C2s and whatevers. They're nice.
Yeah.
The Star Runner, the
Apollos.
Vulture. Woo! What's that? Well, we got a cut off green Connor.
Yeah, I should have cropped it completely because no one wants to remember that one. The fucking
What's that?
green Connie.
What's the green thing next to the
I don't
Mustang?
know. That's the one I couldn't make out what that is.
I can't quite see what that is. Anybody figure that one? Anyone in chat? Next to the little Mustang. Someone's just slipped in a random fake ship, haven't they?
It could be because I don't actually know. Yeah, I can't. And it looks like it's facing the wrong way in the Fleet View as well. That looks like the back end is facing us. It's not the Prospector, is it?
No.
It wasn't this year, was it, the Prospector?
Well, I don't know about the Prospector.
It does look like it from, if you think of it the other way around, maybe.
Maybe after you've crashed it a few times, it does.
Well, yeah.
Vulcan. Could it be the Vulcan?
The Vulcan and the Vulture.
That
with the
came this
repair
year.
drones. Was that this year? Yeah. The one with
That could be it. It doesn't look like it, but...
Yeah.
No, I think you're right, yeah. That's actually one of my favourite ships as well, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you fucking know that.
Jesus, I'm not with it at all.
And,
But no, there's some really good ships that have come out, and a lot of them are industry focused as well, which is good, rather than just combat, which I think is something they said they wanted to start.
That's because we have no combat, so it's like, let's stop making those until we get the flight model.
Yeah.
So we do have, I think, one more concept ship that should be coming this year.
The Arrow.
Which was very subtly not subtle data mined and then shown out as the arrow. Yeah. So do we have any? We don't have any information apart from, was it those stats that were on like shield sizes and things? So this is pure speculation hour. What do you think the arrow is going to be?
Rambo actually makes a good point. The Anvil Hawk's not there, although it's slated for like 3.4, and all the new freelancers.
But you could buy it.
The Hawk was last year's concept, not this year's concept.
Oh, I see. I thought we were just sort of showing like the ships that have come this year.
No.
Yeah, that was
the
Hawk.
the ships introduced this year, I think.
Yeah, these are all the ones that are concept.
Yeah. Stupid Rambo.
God, Rambo, get your facts right, man. Because like we all know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. What was the question?
Sure.
I don't know. Speculation on the arrow.
Fast,
small, snub,
nimble,
starter,
long.
LTI token.
Arrows are normally long. LTI token. Yeah, pretty much. That was one of the things that does make me laugh about these concept ships. It's like every time one comes out, everyone's like, "Oh, I must have it. I must have it," and they all melt shit and they buy it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've got the new ship." And then the next one comes out, "Oh, I must have it. I must have it." Then they melt the one that they just bought. And then buy the new one. And people melt and go through probably like 4 or 5 ships, and none of them have been released. So they've never flown the one that they really wanted before they go to the next one. It's like, how could you keep saying you really want something and then like it's nowhere near being done to go and get another
But that's normal backer's attention span till the next shiny object comes around. The wallet opens and the, store credits.
Technically, you can just buy the starter ship or like an LTI token and just wait, because the one you're going to buy, you can almost be certain you're going to melt it again before it's out. So it doesn't. There's no point buying it.
And join
from melted the ship.
Just save your time.
I've upgraded, but that's the same thing, isn't it? Melting, upgrading, CCUing.
Pretty much. I mean, if you're upgrading a ship that you've never flown before, then yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Well, I think it was the Hull C to Caterpillar, because I figured the Hull C, firstly, is very much just cargo orientated. You can do not the same amount, but a similar sort of role with the Caterpillar, and the Hull C is probably years away right now. It was back then.
Yeah, I mean that's not as bad because you've changed it to a ship that you can actually fly.
And I'm not nope, yep.
I'm on about more like concept jumping. So the concept to concept jump. So you never actually see it. You even see this. Yeah, pretty much. Cool. So we got the concept surfers. How does it feel to be in the presence of combat royalty? Yeah, maybe not. Not for me, at least. Anyway, I'm so good at combat, I don't engage. That's why I'm so good I don't engage.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
You don't want to fucking mess with me. I'm going. Okay.
You want to mess with my friends back here.
So question number 2 is from Starburger, and he says, "What kind of ship will the arrow be?" So, let's just rewind in time. Yeah. So I think it's going to be like a small fighter. A lot of people are saying it's going to be like sort of on par to the Gladius sort of size, probably.
The concept of an arrow is in a straight line and quick. It could be a largish, thin ship that goes super fast, like a Drake Herald.
But yeah.
The idea is it just sounds small, nifty, quick. But it could just be an A to B ship. So it could be another data runner, but a bigger one.
That's a good point. Are they normally that literal with the names? Possible.
No, probably not.
No.
They could just describe the shape of it, like the consolidated outline, sort of arrowhead. But then it'd be called the arrowhead. It doesn't work.
We are delving way too deep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it's going to be. One of those, a ground vehicle. That would be cool. But I don't
he's
think
going to turn it on its head.
Do we need another data runner? We already have the Herald and the Mercury.
But then Achura makes a good point. Do we need another small fighter?
Yeah.
Do we need any more ships? That's what I was about to say.
We need more content. Not ship.
We need more mechanics.
More, yeah.
We need more concept ships, definitely.
Yeah, there's people with concept ships they've never flown that are getting a bit itchy with their purchase. They need to change.
Correct.
I don't know. It's gonna be to try and bring any ship out, especially now if it's concept with stuff that we don't actually have. That's the problem. So it's like there's mechanics that we don't have, and so technically a lot of it's either going to be a fighter, which is something. Well, we still don't have that with a flight mechanic, but you could say you've got that. So there's like a limited of what it could be that would be useful. But then, I mean, the interesting thing is to say then, do you think it'll be flight ready? Do you think it's going to be another surprise? Oh, look, we got a flight ready ship, or is it going to be a real concept one? Because if it's so far down concept, then that's another thing that you've got to wait like a year or so before we're even going to have a hope of glimpse in it.
When we've seen small ships come in concept, they have been kind of flown out. They've been pushed out quite quick, apart from the 100i, which is, I suppose, they're waiting for Origin. But the smaller ships, they tend to bring them out quite quick. Ground ships more than actual ships, but I don't know a concept ship other than that hasn't. I'm muffling again, so it's definitely time to go and get another beer. I'll use that as a cue.
Well, it depends on if they can reuse other items from previous models. That was the whole reason why the other.
Yeah, if they have their style guides.
Yeah.
Per vendor or per company, then it should be way faster. Yeah.
It's more streamlined. We know that the whole process of shipbuilding. So I bet it will be quicker, but yeah, don't know how quick.
And what manufacturer is it? What's the?
That's a good
Anvil,
one.
Arrow.
Anvil. Okay.
So they should have a good palette of predefined stuff already there.
I think it's that's a lot of the stuff that's in like Squadron 42, isn't it? So the assets are kind of already used, so they can make them a lot quicker. And I do think that does give it a potential of being flight ready, or at least close to it, with having all those assets. So yeah. You think Viking thinks it's going to be a Drake constellation equivalent? Isn't that the Caterpillar? Or a Connie one, maybe? No, it's a bit more cargo, I suppose. Do you think we're going to get different manufacturers almost imitating everything, or do you think there's going to be some that only one company will do that type of ship, like say the Vulcan or something?
In the long run, they could diversify, and I mean, some have via lore they have already their direction. It's more military style, or more offensive ships, more transport for Drake, and on the gray area side or gray market side, so to speak.
Yeah.
But in the end, all of the ships have to be, comparable to each other in function, or what is their place in the game? What can you do with them? Do they have mechanics, or do they just? What kind of purpose do they offer for the backer, right? So if I'm not fencing a ship, I mean, like what's the folding one?
Jean Scout? Catuan?
No, the other one with the
Reliant.
The Reliant. The first patches when it came out, it was just crap. I mean, it's probably still crap. And at first I liked it, but then I flew it, and I
love
liked
it to
the
look
cockpit,
at.
but other than that, it's just a fly on the wall, and you smash it. It's just you can't even defend yourself.
The wings break off far too easily. Take it from someone that knows.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes these special mechanics they put into those ships, like the Jian Scout and so on, they have some visual appeal, but when you fly them, you suddenly find, okay, something's missing.
You're in a disadvantage.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think we also see now, as the game starts developing, we're seeing like ships come down the line that are fitting into areas that are necessary. So for certain mechanics, certain gameplay experiences, like for example, not a ship, but the Titan suit, like what Sean Trace is saying, is it's gameplay that's missing. So as time goes on and they develop more of these mechanics, we're going to see gaps in the marketplace, technically, where ships are needed, and that's what's filling them up. When the Reliant came out, I think it was just for the sake of releasing a MISC starter ship, wasn't it? And that was the idea. The other ships from Reliant are all right, like the Mako, that's quite interesting. But the basic one is just god awful. I own it.
I did own it, but I want it back if it gets good, but I don't know if it is. But yeah, but what we were kind of talking about was so do you think, so for example, we have a certain ship so it doesn't make sense for a military manufacturer to necessarily just make a great big cargo hauler like the Hull E. Because although military will haul some cargo, they wouldn't necessarily need a massive cargo hauler. So the question was kind of more, do we think that you'll see all the manufacturers just make a big hauler just for the sake of saying, well, we've got our own big hauler? Or do you think they are going to be kept a little bit more specific?
I would say they will keep their own brand to a certain role, maybe, or to a certain feature set, etc. It's like with trucks. You have certain companies, they build just trucks, but not civil or personal normal cars.
Yeah.
So I think that it's the same with the Pioneer, for example. That's just a special ship, and that company would have. Is a niche market, and maybe we will see more in that area.
They did say, didn't they, that they don't want to create the same sort of a cargo ship, a mining ship, a salvaging ship for each manufacturer. They do want to have certain manufacturers specific to a certain niche marketplace. But then you will see, like, for example, cargo hauling is kind of a mechanic or a gameplay feature that most people in the real world would create some form of vehicle to do that with. So we may see things like a cargo hauler for practically every manufacturer, but then certain other ships that are more niche, like, I don't know, ground building, base building things, specific to certain things. But yeah, they don't want to just chuck them all out there with every single manufacturer creating the same thing.
I think it also makes sense in terms of certain so it's different for different manufacturers. So say like Drake, for example. Now, if their aim is to be like, we just knock things together quick, cheap, so that you can have access to it in a cheap, like not too polished form, then there's more reason for them to be able to replicate every single ship in the game, from a fighter to a cargo hauler to a repair ship or whatever. Whereas a ship like you just said, the Pioneer, or the manufacturers that are focusing more on the mining, it makes less sense for a mining organization to create a fighting ship. Doesn't make sense. So some manufacturers probably lend themselves a little bit more to being an overall manufacturer, whereas others are a bit more specific to what their task is, I think.
Yeah, and otherwise, I guess everyone would just go to their favorite manufacturer and.
That's kind of what I meant. So it's like, well, I like the Constellation, but I don't like the look of it, for example. So you say, do I just sit there and wait till Drake brings ones out, then MISC brings ones out, and then we say, right, okay, so now we've got one in each. And you just sit there and wait for your manufacturer to bring out a ship that you want, sort of thing. So someone in chat, I've just lost it because it's all cycled through so much, asked about, do we think we're going to be seeing more straight to flyable ships rather than longer in the pipeline? Do you think that's a way they're going to go with it, or do you think this was just like a special occasion?
I think it depends on Squadron 42, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it applies in general. It's just, oh shit, we need this now, quick. Yeah, let's make it instantly flyable. We're doing something for you. No, we need it in the game, to be honest.
I 100% agree. I think all the ships that are already in Squadron 42 should be flyable. And it's like, if they find another role in the game development they need, which obviously they thought there must be a mission somewhere where this ship with the machine guns and everything else is going to be, a dropship is going to be usable, is going to be needable. So needable? Is that even a word? So they're going to, I would have got away with that if I hadn't said nothing.
Miserable.
Sounds like miserable.
So they got this ship that they
miserable
wanted,
needable?
and so they created it, which basically means it then goes straight to flyable.
Yeah. It's
And
miserable, needable for a flyable.
Valkyrieable.
Ooh.
Maybeable. I'm amiable. I'm amiable to that pineable thing.
How
Quite
admirable.
bookable.
Bockable.
Remarkable. And there we go, folks. We finally lost it.
Close.
So, Teenager asks, do you think the 15006 might have spread over to the other login servers because EU started using those servers on top of the normal load? Yes. Hashtag blame the EU. Why do you think?
To Fortnite.
Why do you think we're doing Brexit? It's bloody EU ruining everything.
It's the Brexit patch.
Gotta get
fuck
away
you
from
guys.
You're going to be seeing Brexit right here.
Yep.
So yeah, it does. Teenager, if that's a semi-serious question, it does look like it's rolled over to the other servers as well, not just EU, unfortunately. So expect a nice patch very soon. Starexit. Yeah, exclamation mark question mark, folks. If you want to ask us some questions, you can ask. You're welcome to ask it in chat, but like I said, it scrolls quite fast sometimes, so we miss it. So if you fill in the form, we're more likely to get to it. But yeah, ask any questions.
With
anyway
your bank
you like.
details and
Your ship login and your giftable ships.
Don't you want to know the brass sizes?
No, not of all the guys in chat. No.
So, the Soup Nazi says, should we expect the live quarterly releases to behave like 3.3 instead of coming out with whatever is ready and delaying the rest? So we kind of answered that a bit earlier, really. We think because of the fact that the technology was what was holding back 3.3, we think that that's why that got delayed, whereas we think the future patches are going to be less orientated about core technology, so therefore they'll just release what is ready. That's what we think. Because already with 3.4, they've said, we're stripping this out. Here you go, here, have a sandwich, because that's all that's going to be in there.
Wouldn't taste good either, would it? But they are date-driven now, which is, since this roadmap's begun this year, it kind of forces them to release at a date, but when something as big as object container streaming is important and imperative for 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, for the rest of the game's development, they need to get that done. So that is why it's taken so long. 3.4 is not as big a deal. So that is now back to date-driven. But we may see, like I said earlier on, the July patch and the September patch be pushed slightly in terms of dates rather than content, because they are likely to hold the more important content, but they are still date driven. So if something can slip, they will just push it back to the next one and release it whatever is ready. But if it is imperative to getting the game working and actually build it like progressing, then they need to get it out regardless. So it was a one-off technically. Fingers crossed.
Technically a one-off that's going to happen every year in the middle. That's
3.0 was a one-off as well.
It was needable.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I kind of like it when we started with 3.3, and then in a couple of weeks we have 3.3.5, and then in a couple of weeks we have 3.4. So that's a nice transition to the end of the year.
It's kind of
then
like
we're almost at the new flight model.
It's
almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like we don't get enough time to whinge that there's nothing to do before they drop a new patch.
Yeah.
I'm actually withholding myself from making money in the game because it gets wiped by the next patch.
That's true. We don't have as much time as we usually would do. Like we usually have 3 months to really go to town with it. Now it's like, well, 3.5, 3.35 will come out. That'll wipe it. Then, like you say, maybe 2 weeks later from then, 3 weeks later, well, a month later, we're going to be wiped again. But yeah, it does keep us entertained. And it's Red Dead, you know.
Absolutely.
There's other things to do.
Yeah, if you have a console.
Which we don't, because we're PC Master Race here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm a console person.
But imagine all the salt of the people that have grinded their way to buy actually a ship in game.
21 million hammerhead.
And then the next day the patch
We
drops.
got it, folks.
and-
We got it. Patch drop.
Yep.
No.
Patch drop next day.
But the
release
first
the ship.
time the patch will release and people will be disappointed.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Wait until next year.
Don't
give
do
it
the
another
patch.
year.
Don't do
Yeah.
the patch. I've just got my ship. The thing is, I did the same
gonna happen.
for the PTU. I didn't bother trying to earn money. I thought it was a bit pointless because of the wipe and because it's going on PU. I was going to more on the PU, but you're probably right. It's probably not so worth it.
Not worth
with
the
patches.
effort.
Do you think? I mean, how long do you think it? I think it's probably B to answer my own question. Fuck it, before I even say it. No, never mind. Move on. No, I was going to say, how long do you think like we're going to be before we start getting patches where they don't necessarily wipe your money? Do they not need to? Might not need to wipe your money if they're just adding extra quests and things. Do they need to wipe everything?
Well, they don't need to. They do it just purely for the sake of keeping everything stable. But I think that, like, Chris has addressed this, and he wants to get away from that happening. And I've always said, as soon as ship purchasing comes in, they kind of need to delay that. Like, maybe not every 3 months, maybe every 6 months or every year, do a wipe. Or when, like, if it becomes really atrocious, they don't need to do that. And I know Chris wants to get away from it. He did say something about, he said some, like, after server meshing is in, they'll stop wiping it, which I don't think he truly meant that, because sometimes Chris will say something out of context and it'll be a bit like, what does he mean? It's all the time. Chris just uses his fucking hands to explain shit, and we're like, what? We need some sort of like hand
We'll
signal.
stop wiping it, but this means I'm going to wipe all the servers all the time.
You're all going to lose.
We know what that one means.
But I would like it next year to stop wiping patches.
Server mission's quite far away, probably. So that still could be accurate-ish. But who knows?
On the one hand, I'm like, why earn money? Just make it so that everybody can buy the ship in game that they want to fly now to test it out. But because basically we're still testing, right? We're not playing the game, we're testing. On the other hand, the replayability will be gone.
You fucking millennials, you want everything now, don't you?
No,
just give me all the
I
money
don't
so I
mind.
can have all the ship at once. Yeah. Who wants to play the game? Just fucking let me buy every ship I want to try flying.
See, I thought that about the Prospector. They should have given everyone a Prospector when mining came out. And I still feel like they should have done, but like you say, it's not. Now ship purchasing is in. That does give that replayability. That does give that.
It gives you the feeling and the reward.
Yeah.
Like, I've done this.
And then they put it so it takes you, it takes you a whole fucking patch just to earn that money, and then they wipe it. So
1.7 million to get a Prospector, and I think the most I've earned now mining is 14,000. Someone do the math there, because. But actually, hang on, I couldn't mine, could I, to earn that much, because I wouldn't have a Prospector.
No, so you'd be earning less on carrying
what
a
is
single
14,000?
box.
14,000 UEC, from one single mining expedition.
Really?
In a Prospector, yeah.
I'm doing 1,500 now.
Wow, you're a
What
rich
is he
bitch.
mining then?
No, you need to go for Laranite. Laranite is just
Yeah,
expensive now. It's beautiful.
expensive and rare.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought these Asian games were a grind fest, but they've taken it to a whole new level in Star Citizens.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
I was talking to Toby before the podcast, and we were discussing
dare
the
you.
fact, well, is it more profitable to do mining or running missions? Well, mining it gives you the most money per run, but the time that it will take you to actually fill that cargo with useful stuff and then go back to a station to sell it, that takes you a very long time unless you hit the sweet spot.
But don't forget, eventually, I know this is, again, going to change anyway because of pricing, but the Prospector will eventually have the ability to drop its saddlebags and have it refilled 4 times. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know by
I
hand.
can't remember what they come up with. So it's like you fill them up, which doesn't take too long. Like you say, doesn't take long at all. You drop them off, get the new bags, drop them off, and then someone can come along and pick it up. It is very lucrative, but with anything in terms of pricing, mission rewards, and everything, I just say to everyone, don't even look into it just yet, because it's going to be balanced a heck of a lot more than what it is now.
Yeah.
And it will be accurate and it'll feel good, but they've got to make sure that it's viable for the multi-crew people more than solo players. A solo player shouldn't be able to come up and just be like, I'm just going to go and buy a multi-crew ship. It shouldn't be viable for a solo player to buy a multi-crew ship.
You do realise it's all a scam. That you can't actually buy ships. They've put the prices that high so that you can't actually afford them. It's like, I tell you what, this will shut the fuckers up. We'll put it in game. We'll make it look like they can buy them, and then we'll put the price so fucking high no one can actually afford it. So it's like, ship's buying. Have your ship there. It's in fucking game. Good luck trying to do that.
Or this place out of stock.
Yeah,
just like my Virpal joystick.
When he said scam, I was like, oh god, what's he doing here? After saying that word about
time to confess, Star Citizen is a scam.
The biggest April Fools. It started in 2012, April Fool's Day.
Yeah, it's a long running joke from Chris Roberts. It's a joke that keeps on giving. It's like they're still falling for it. Yes. This is beautiful. Oh, every year we crack this one out and have a joke about it. No, it's I mean, so they gave us, what, 5 million in the PTU to test buying the ships? Yeah. Did they give us anything? Yeah. Did they give us any extra money in the PU?
No. I think it's 5,000.
Okay, so yeah, good luck buying a ship on the PU.
Well, I was going mental with the armor, and I was doing trading, which I couldn't do after I bought the armor, so I was bound to mining again.
Longevity box, you gotta. Yeah. But look at it, so shiny.
I felt like a woman. Oh, look, nice helmet. Oh, nice chest.
Let's face it, that's all we really want to do is shop. Just go in there, shop, get new shoes. I was like, no, I can't talk about that. That was Evocati. Never mind. Forget that. Move on. So I did notice that the Citizen Con Duster's jacket is now in the 3.3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone seen it?
Yep.
I've put it on. I'm not a fan of those long things until we get the more flowy cloth tech. I think it just looks a bit weird.
Stiff.
Eh?
It looks a bit stiff. It doesn't
stiff,
flow.
Yeah.
What? I don't know what you thought I said, but yeah. So do you like the look of it though, or not?
No.
Nah,
they're not my thing. Of those long trench coats.
What about you in chat? Do you like the trench coat with it? I thought it looked. Some people were moaning about the Citizen Con 29 being a big stamp on the back. 2049. But in some ways, I think it would be. It's quite good in terms of if the game goes live, like everybody that backed and went to it, and you could have literally have in-game CitizenCon meetups, and you're all wearing the different tops from because as you do now when you go to CitizenCon in real life, and you're wearing I was at CitizenCon 2018 or whatever, and you can get different ones because I think the year before didn't we get T-shirts with it on or something? So you could. You could get different meetups in game as a Citizen Con, and everyone will be wearing their different fan-owned shirt. Would be pretty cool.
Well, they they put out a law post just before Citizen Con, which talked about was it Emperor Costigan who or maybe after the mess of the regime they started not Citizen Con but Citizen Day, was it?
Yeah.
Did anyone read that law post about it being a big event in the actual verse? So I think what will happen is they'll have the CitizenCon event in real life, but then in the game it'll be a celebrated day across the UEE states where all go out and strip off and for one day and then kill everyone without any law. Oh, is that the Purge? No, that was the Purge.
That's a different thing.
That was a film. But yeah, it's going to be in game as well, these events. So yeah, having it on side your ship, because I think the Mustang, the CitizenCon Mustang has it on their ship as well. So it's going to be in law, but it's going to be present,
The Citizen Purge.
Yes.
I wonder if we'll get planets where they might do that. So that's quite in some ways quite an interesting topic. So when in Star Trek, obviously they do a lot of exploring and finding new places. Do we think they'll find places where we might get stuff like that, where they just completely different culture? So especially if it's not UEE, if you go there and you find out that they do lock up children and force them to go and work in the mines, or I don't know, something like that. That's the only thing that comes to my head without trying to get myself into trouble.
Children was the first thing to come to mind then.
It's no, it's like I could have said other things, and then women would have gone nuts, or so, you know.
And then women would have. So you were going to say women?
Yeah, like go to a planet where they chain women to the kitchen sink as a normal thing, you know.
And don't use your internet. Huh?
The non-UEE ones I'm on about. Like, I'm not saying this is a normal thing.
The Banu slaves.
Yeah.
Or it's not. Is it Banu that slave people? It is, isn't it? Yeah, I would think so. I think there's going to be a lot of law like that, but that specifically is probably more concerning than.
Why not? It's like, and I meant more in terms of different culture. So I don't know. They don't go out on a Wednesday or something. To us, a Wednesday is a sacred day. We don't go outside on a Wednesday.
Yeah, on a Wednesday, children aren't allowed outside, and women have to be chained to the sinks.
We're going to pitch this. We're creating a world right here.
It's okay though. It's law. It's just part of the law.
This is the next planet that's coming. Oh, well, you guys weren't coming up. What would you say then is a planet that would have a different culture? I know I'm rambling because none of these guys are saying anything. Basically, they're just looking at me like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Right. Okay. Fair enough. Whatever. You have no imagination, you people. No imagination.
You really targeted the right man.
Okay, so going on to calling all devs, because we need to move this swiftly on. We didn't have one.
Any of that yet?
We haven't won this week, so we'll go on to we didn't actually get to last week's one, so we'll talk a little bit about that because there's a couple of things on there. So one of the questions they said about, will players be able to carry a portable hab or a sleeping bag while they travel in land vehicles? So they said not right now or for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like they're going to do it. And if they're so reluctant now to either say yes or no for a definitive answer. They always leave it on the fence.
I find they'd less want to just say no now.
Yeah,
it's like maybe it's possible.
I can see like an Ursa rover though being like, why can't they put a bed in an Ursa rover and have that as the touring ground vehicle? That I think is a possibility, and I don't see why they wouldn't do something like that down the line. But it's like a necessity now. Definitely.
Why create a whole vehicle around a sleeping bag?
What, like you mean like a Winnebago or a caravan? Or
that's a good idea.
Well, no. What you're saying? Well, let them create a vehicle with sleeping possibilities, and I'm like, yeah, if you can carry a sleeping bag with you, doesn't matter. For all I care, you're riding a bicycle on the planet, and you can sleep wherever you want.
Bling bling. I guess they've probably seen Red Dead Redemption and saw that you could set up camp in all these places and thought, oh yeah, I want that. Yeah. Can we do that?
That's probably what the question was from, yeah. And they're like, no. And then, well, Chris has been watching Red Dead, so that's coming.
He's figuring out how they grow beards, so yeah, that's going to delay something later down the line.
Bam! 4 months.
Hair tech's been pushed back, but not because of that, I swear.
And the flight model.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, personally, I can't see them doing that because it kind of makes all the ships with beds a bit defunct, because you might as well, if you're losing space to have a bed when you could just put a roll-up mattress down, it kind of, and it'll get messy. If you imagine, no, not that kind of messy. If you imagine like having a ship full of like tons of people, like having a little party, and then all of a sudden everyone just rolls their sleeping bag out and everybody.
So it was that kind of messy then.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Well, if you're one of those people who are not into flying much and do most of your time things on the surface, let's say you're going to explore a little bit and you take your sleeping mattress with you, that's a perfect solution for those people.
You could do it on planets, I suppose, yeah.
But it's something. It's for the longer run, I think. Not really to be in the game when it releases.
Yeah, possibly.
It's stuff for later.
You know what, Miz, hang on.
What?
I think those notes that I sent you is actually last week, like the week before.
You didn't send me any notes. Toby's going to leave us now, folks, because unfortunately it's late for the poor old bear. He's getting old. He can't stay up this late. But thanks for joining us, Toby, and welcome to the Asylum.
It's awesome. Thank you very much, and we'll see you or each other very soon.
I'm sure we will.
Tomorrow.
We love you,
Tomorrow, yeah, another day. Take care, mate.
Sleep well, Toby.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you didn't send me any notes, did you?
Then did I've got
a bot ready for it.
Did I put my old Star Citizen Sunday? Because I had a carry on with calling all devs where I think I might have put the old one in, and then I realised that I'd written the old one, and I think this one that I'm sending you now is the actual.
We haven't had a calling all devs this week. That's why.
No, from last week though. From last week, because this week was like the next question that you have isn't about the Merlin rework, is it?
No.
Which I think it is. I think if you check that link there, this week? Not this week. Sorry, not today, week. Monday, but last week. The second question was about the Merlin, wasn't it?
Last week. These may well have been when I put these in last week before the Monday one came out. So yeah, these are probably fucking the week before questions.
Confusing.
So use that calling on then, because that's the latest.
See, folks, the shit we have to go through to try and get you this information, and then we get it wrong. Okay.
It's not easy, is it?
Let's look at last week's calling all devs.
What is life?
What is life? So this is me reading it from Mac's notes again, so it never works very well. And before we continue, did you all notice that nothing happened to the rest of the cameras? This is what we've been trying to do for so long. Toby managed to leave, and nothing broke. It's so good. So Madness, if you're in Vietnam watching, I sorted it, mate. So yeah, so hopefully in future we shall have much easier setups using the wonderful technology of crappy Skype. I never when we ditched Skype, like probably about a year ago now, to go over to Zoom, I thought, that's it, this Skype can burn and never use it again. I can't believe I've gone back and have to use Skype again now. But there we go, it works.
Man, the future's amazing, isn't it?
The future is amazing. So, calling all devs. Will we get... I don't know if I should read it. Will we get some form of maintenance... Oh, fuck me, mate. Maintenance mechanic to either slow or repair the wear to a component with the addition of system degradation. Yeah. What he put. And what was the answer?
Yes, the repair method with... Oh, so the repair tool has come in and obviously swapping the sub-items, but they're also going to show where on the power MFD. So if you look at your MFD now, the actual cog, isn't it, is the repair sort of percentage. And apparently at 100%, it means it's bad. So it's death. At 0%, it's good. But someone was asking about a time to wearing out. So like, if it says, is there a time to... Like, how long will it take until it's worn out? Are we going to see that as a visible UI thing? And it's like, well, it doesn't make much sense. Because apparently they will, but it's the more you use it, the time to wearing out will increase. The less you use it, the lower it'll go. So it'll always be
fluctuating a bit. I suppose it's a bit like in my car. Like if I change the dial to how many miles are left in the tank, because you can change it so that you can see you've got 300 miles before your tank's empty. Like, that's an estimate, I suppose. It's like if you keep driving down the motorway at a steady pace without over-accelerating, you'll last that many miles. So I suppose it's going to work kind of like that. So if you keep using it at an average rate, it will last X amount of time.
I guess it'll encourage you to drive economical. Like when you see that, you try and aim it in that point where you're getting the most miles per gallon.
Oh, my God.
Even if you're going through town at 45 miles an hour. Or on the motorway at 45 miles an hour, you're just like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but my components are going to last. You may be speeding through, but guess who's got the petrol to go all day? I mean, sometimes you can have too much information. Like, this is some of the mechanics that you could personally work out yourself. Like, you know, so if you have a quality... And then... Is it always going to be the same? So if you say you had an A-star quality power generator, and are all A-star power generators going to degrade at the same rate? Is a grade B generator going to degrade at a different rate to that? And are they all going to be the same? It's like
wasn't there a little what do you call it? Chance of
failure as well? Yeah.
Yeah, misfiring sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That. I think they mentioned it somewhere.
Someone said if I bought it straight out, brand new, is there a chance it will go wrong instantly? And I'm like, well, kind of, yeah, because it always starts at 0%, but then it starts ticking up as soon as you, I guess, buy it or like stick it in your ship. But I wouldn't want to buy anything off the shelf, and I'd be that one person that has that 1 in sort of 6 million chance of it just being like, nope.
Yeah.
Because then you'll just think, is it a bug? Is this a glitch? And it's like, no, you're just unlucky. Congratulations.
That is going to be one of the things. It's kind of well, was that supposed to happen? Like you just take off and it blows up. It's like shit. Was that a bug? Did I get a faulty thing? And then can you claim it back? Is it going to have a warranty on it? Can we go like this didn't last?
Take it back to the shop. Be like,
they kind of laugh, but in some ways we've got insurance and shit, so it's almost like is that going to be a thing? It's like I bought it and it's blown up within a month of using it. Do I have a warranty on this freaking thing? I mean, real life getting too much.
If
in
you
a
don't,
game.
pull the clerk over the counter, smack him into the hand.
Oh, give me another one.
I saw an arm.
I saw an arm as well.
Spooky.
Don't forget to lock them.
Yes, boss. Sorry, just the boss telling me I need to lock up. So now my internet should be fine. She's not draining all the power watching TV. Woo! Now we can start the podcast properly.
Yes.
Don't forget, guys, exclamation mark, question mark in chat if you want to ask us any questions. Also, exclamation mark donate or exclamation mark astropub, I think is the two commands I've got in there. If you want to donate to the Stack Up technology, what am I talking about? Stack Up charity. And if you want to upvote the Astropubs, well, in fact, not if you want to, go and upvote the Astropubs post, please. Share it around and spread the love and show everybody what an amazing community that Star Citizen community is, because it is. It's awesome.
We are. Yes.
I'm not, but they are. It's fine. So the next question was the Merlin rework for 3.5, and will we see it docking? How did they mean? Oh, yeah, docking. What they mean into the Connie again, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times are we going to ask this question?
I know.
So they basically put that it's not going to get a rework. It's just getting. I mean, what does it? Isn't that a rework if it's making the cockpit more in line with the current templates?
Well, I guess the rework is generally like if you look at the Mustang, that's had a rework, hasn't it? And that's like a complete different shape. Like the Merlin will still remain the same shape and the same style, but the cockpit is more, I guess, up to date with current cockpits.
I
don't know, but yeah,
like then, the cockpit of the Mustang, what they rearranged.
Yeah, true.
Different.
Yeah.
If you guys want to talk about the docking for a second, I'm going to go and get a beer myself and lock up like I've been told to. So, talk about docking and whether it's coming. And I'm not going to come back.
Leave us at it.
Yeah. So yeah, they said I think this was something I actually mentioned earlier on it about the Hull C, because they want to get docking with the Hull C. Oh no, this was on stream. So the Hull C is basically where they're going to start working on docking, because that is with the Hull C, it can't land because it's a huge cargo ship and it has all that cargo, and it with the splines are expanded, it cannot land physically on a planet, so it has to dock to a space station. And that's going to be the first thing they introduce, is station to ship docking. And then obviously those cargo boxes are going to be moved around and taken off by other machines. After that, they say that it's going to be ship to ship docking, which I mean, the Kraken with the Caterpillar, that just looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't it?
Absolutely.
So yeah, they're bringing in. We won't see the Merlin docking until the Hull C has been able to dock with the space station, which just kind of seem a bit like, well, the Merlin and the Constellation has been around for centuries.
Ages, yes.
Yeah, so that you would have thought would be the first thing, but I guess they just need to work on that first, and then they'll introduce the same techniques into the Merlin and get that on there. But it's going to be ship to station, so I guess we may see the big ships docking to places like Port Olisar and other places like that. And yeah,
I was still wondering, looking at the new truck stop that's in 3.3. They are still working with landing pads and hangars. Why not like some sort of docks?
What do you mean?
Well, for the really big ships that they're not able to land on the landing pad because it's too big, the ship, but just dock on the side of the truck stop and then have some sort of mechanism, trolleys to get the cargo out.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying, isn't it? Is so with the, I guess
I had hoped that it was already in, not necessarily the whole docking mechanic or the unloading mechanic, but just the docking itself.
Well, I mean, yeah, the unloading, I don't know what they're going to do there, but the docking is practically you go to a docking collar on a space station, and then certain ships with docking collars will, kind of like a lesbian sex scene, will just come up.
Yeah.
And
just
attach.
like in Helion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I just assume they need to figure now it's more like a homosexual sex. They need to just sort of get the tips touching so that when the docking collars are connected, they can...
Miz is thinking, what the hell is going on my stream?
They can get in and out, yeah. It's like the birds and the bees, but in Star Citizen. Yeah. Docking is the birds and the bees.
I realised that probably wasn't the best conversation to leave you with. Let's just have 10 minutes talking about the docking.
It looks weird.
It naturally went that way. I didn't mean anything by it until I really focused. But yeah, I guess they just need to figure out a way of getting these. And I'm not going to do hand impressions. These docking collars, not the sticky toffee stuff again.
I love that stuff. It's so good.
You're obsessed.
It's that or Hobgoblin. Those are the two best drinks out there.
Hobgoblin.
I love this stuff.
It starts coming out.
What the hell's that? What's that mean?
It's the sticky toffee coming out as poo.
No, it's just the sticky toffee flavoured. When you eat sticky toffee... anyway, let's not go down.
But yeah, docking is I'm really much looking forward to that because they can't really introduce these huge ships until docking is in. You can't have an Idris landing on an even bigger landing pad. It would make the space stations look ridiculous when they've got landing pads bigger than the stations. So they do need to get docking in for things like the Idris before they can introduce capital ships. The Reclaimer itself looks ridiculous when it's out on it just looks too big.
Yeah.
And that has docking collars. The Caterpillar has docking collars. So they just need to figure out a universal way of making it so.
Isn't there a concept image of the, what's it called, the King ship? The one that is like 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers long? That is actually... No, it's...
Do the hand in.
Oh,
you're doing it down below. Well, I know there is... If you look... Hang on, let me just send you this...
Concept is just concept, so it's not gonna, it doesn't make it doing anything, is it?
But this horrendous link does show the loading screen with Idris docked to Port Olisar. So that's the intention. I mean, there's a javelin, there's a Bengal in the background. That's misleading in itself. But those Idris are docked, and those struts in Port Olisar, I believe, are supposed to be the docking collar. So what would be really nice when this does come in, though, is that when it's docked, you'll be walking down the corridor together as a group and then going straight into your ship, not having to figure out where the button is to open the cargo hold. You'll just be straight on it. It looks really cool, but that is, I don't know when that's coming.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Because they seem to be like miles away from us being able to have docking. But then, so they on that calling all devs thing, they said it about the whole sea needing to dock because it can't land. Do you think, I mean, they've already said that it was being held off because the they were struggling with the folding mechanics. Do you think that they would hold off not releasing the whole sea if they have no way to dock it? Or do you think we'll get it anyway so that you can just kind of fly around with it?
I think they'll wait. I don't see them being able to introduce it without that option. Because it's just, you can't do anything. You can't load it up. You can't unload it.
So rip having a whole sea then. So
pretty much,
just,
yeah.
You're not going to get it until... I mean, do you know how long we've been waiting to get the Merlin to undock from the Constellation? So I wonder if... I mean, they've always said that having the two... Because the two ships are going to be in motion, that makes it harder. I wonder if docking to a static station would be technically easier for them to arrange. So maybe we would see that before we would see the whole ship-to-ship docking thing.
Yes, we will. It's actually in the notes I linked you, where it says first stage is to be ship to station, then second stage is
ship to station. Yeah.
Ship to ship.
You just had to read further on, basically, and then you would have got the answer.
I left you with the thing. I thought you would have talked about that. Obviously,
I was doing all the hand motions.
He's turning to Chris.
Yeah.
So the next question was: is there a reason why ships cannot have stronger headlights for seeing asteroids and the ground before running into them? Because it's fun to see you blow up instead. No reason, we just don't give a shit. That's what they said.
Actually, it's pretty much, it's kind of, they've got long term and short term, because this is a lighting question, and they have like the short term, they could just put like a long narrow beam on it and make it so, there you go, you can see now. And I think currently they say it's 100 to 200 meter distance, which if you're traveling at 900 meters a second,
that's nothing, man.
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
That's
it's like the Titanic, but ramped up. It's like iceberg. No,
it's like Titanic 900 years. But they said something about looking to. I can't even read my own writing. They're looking to ways to make. Yeah, so they've got. They're going to probably do a whole balance pass for 3.5, but a long-term solution, probably longer. I would have thought the 3.5 balance pass would be the long-term solution, but apparently not.
We did see, I'm trying to think whether it was at CitizenCon or one of the panels or not, but where they were showing off the lighting up the asteroid slightly, the kind of artificially lighting it. It may have been just an ATV, I can't remember. But so we've already seen now that they are aware that like obviously some things are harder to be seen. So they've tried to put like artificial lights on asteroids and stuff so that they don't look like they're glowing, but you can see them a bit better. I hope they don't go like I think the lights on your ship should work well enough to see stuff, but I don't want every asteroid around me to be glowing so that you can obviously see it, because there was a shit ton of fun I had in Jumpgate, which I've talked about a few times on here, which no one seems to have ever played. But there was always this one asteroid that if you did a certain cargo run, and because in Jumpgate you used to go from Jumpgate to get to the place you want to go to, and there was always one, if you come at it at a certain angle, you just could not see it. And it just looked like you were flying into black space. So everyone, and these cargo haulers, they're going to work like they do on atmosphere, like really long to move and everything. So once you got your forward momentum going and you were going at full speed, there is no way you can move out the way. And you just saw all these fucking fully laden cargo haulers all of a sudden realize that the asteroid's in front of them. They're like, shit, and they turn around and they try and face a different direction, and their ships are just going.
Yeah, we
need
like
you see the explosion.
A fight view of their face as they realize. Like a screenshot.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god. But it's so we used to call it Emma in the end because we say it was like a pain in the ass, so like hemorrhoid, a pain in the ass. So in the end, the asteroid actually had a nickname of Emma because it was that bad. But there's only one thing that's more cool than that is that I've just realised in Star Citizen we'd actually had to be allowed to land on that asteroid and sit there and just watch people crash into it, because obviously you couldn't do that in that game. Everything was a lot smaller, but imagine being able to on Star Citizen scale just literally land on it and go, oh, here comes another one, here it comes, and you just watch it.
Nice bets if you realise it.
I would go to the new truck stop, because when you go out of quantum travel, you're directly opposite to the bright sun, and you can't actually see those two very big asteroids quite well. And the station itself, it's clearly invisible. So if you're gonna stop there, I guess you will see some people crashing into those.
Oh,
I
think that would
really
be
miss
cool,
those
though.
days though, when when you try and land on a planet and all the icons of the sort of locations you can land were the same, and you didn't know if that was on the other side of the moon
Oh, God, yeah.
or the front side, and it was too dark to really know when you're going to go slam
Yeah.
and actually hit the moon. It was
That's
was like,
my
this is fine.
excuse.
yeah.
Oh,
That's changed.
But when it's dark, though, even if you're not looking at locations, the dark, when you're coming down on the planet, it does make you think, oh, no, I'm miles away from here. The next thing you know, it just
Right.
hits you. And it's like, oh, no, maybe I wasn't quite so far.
The planet hits you.
Yeah, the planet hits me every
Yeah.
fucking time. I'm just flying, I'm minding my own business, I'm flying in a nice straight line, and the fucking planet hits me.
Where did that
every
come
time.
from? Who struck this huge moon here?
So I think another big question, which I think Mac, you've done a video on, I know, it seemed to be a hot topic, is allowing people to move from planet to planet or system while
No, that was
offline.
Bockgamer that did the video.
I thought you just recently did one.
Nope.
Yeah, I did. It
No, it's
said
not.
travel offline, and it was yours.
Oh,
Okay.
hang on, that might have been my Star Citizen Sunday.
Maybe
Yeah,
that was one of the ones I actually clicked. So maybe.
Well, carry on.
Well, no. Now I feel like I need to prove that you don't even know your
Oh
own
no,
videos.
it's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you off. But Bod has done a full video on it.
I know Board has, but I was on about you. Board's not sitting here at the moment, so I was talking about you. Never mind. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll move on.
fucked
I
up.
was trying to plug Mac's video, but in fact, you know what? He hasn't done it, so don't
I
bother.
ruined it, didn't I? I ruined that whole.
So, well, since you haven't done anything on it, there's any point asking you about moving from planet to planet while offline.
Don't rub it in.
So they've discussed it in the past, and the idea at the moment is currently no. Don't want players to bypass content. So, interesting.
Good
Yeah.
decision. Good decision.
Yeah, I think so as well. They technically they're creating content where you could be intercepted. There's stuff to do as you're traveling between point to point, and it is a case of it's fast travel basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could work with commercial flights because we know you can go and get a flight from when you go to Lorville, there's that location where you can go domestic, international. I'm sure AI will be putting on flights. People who own a Starliner might be able to do that as well, provided they hopefully pass checks and they're not just like, yeah, come aboard my ship and then mass murder everyone that gets on board. But ultimately, I can see exactly where people are coming from.
I can definitely see the want and
Yeah.
need for it, definitely. Especially when we know that travel time takes so long. And Theodos in chat just said then, like, if commercial flights and things like that, you feel almost like, well, why not? But
I wouldn't mind if let's say I'm off to work, and just before I step into my car, I have a buddy of mine who is going into the same direction as I want to go, but it's like half an hour away or even longer. I don't care. I hop into his ship as a passenger, then I will leave my PC, go to my work, and when I come back, hopefully he survived. He didn't get interdicted,
hopefully.
and he's standing there with a ship in a hangar, and I can step out. I would have mind that kind of technique, but not automatic with NPCs or whatever.
Well, when you think about bounty hunting, for example, they have said if you are the criminal and you get caught, they don't want you to be trolled by constantly being stuck. The guy logs off and you're stuck in his fucking cargo, his bounty hunting box. So you become an NPC and you automatically go over to prison. Now, if, for example, you get on a Starliner, they could approach it in the same way where you jump on the Starliner. If that's a player-owned Starliner, you then become an NPC, and if you log off, you could either travel along with that and be a part of that, the passengers, or you automatically spawn at the location you were traveling to, and that your body then becomes an NPC and has that the crew have to look after you and whatnot. If you log off, for example, you become an NPC and you still have to be looked after, and then you will wake up the next time you spawn will be at the landing port of where you were heading to. I can see them doing something similar in terms of bounty hunting with travel, but like they say, they just want you to play the game. But if you don't have that much time, like everyone has a different set amount of time that they can play the game. Unemployed people play all the day long. You know, the people that have families, jobs, and whatnot, they can only play 20 minutes a day. They don't want to spend that 20 minutes jumping from Artcore to Microtech and then getting there and being like, right, time for dinner. And you think, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to cause issues for people that don't get so much time to play, for sure. And I do think I can 100% see the want and even potentially the need to be able to do that sort of offline travel. And I think in a game that didn't have PvP, it would be a more easier thing to do, because that risk, or you just say you travelled safely that day and it wouldn't be such a bad thing. I suppose the problem boils down to is exploitation. If you've got someone that's hunting you and you know that they're after you, you can just log off. And especially with people with multiple accounts, so you can log on the account that's being hunted, send it on its way off, like an offline sending thing, and then go and log on to your alternate account. So it's a shame, because I do think it would be a valid way to travel for those that haven't got time. And you just imagine getting on like a public transport and thinking, well, I don't want to be on this planet, but I've got to go to work. Right? Let's set me on another destination, and when I get home, I can play where I want to be. And I do think it's a shame that we probably won't get it, but I also think that we probably won't get it because of that. Because it's just probably too exploitable, unless they can come up with some way to stop that exploitation. I suppose they could. Even that, you can't even do it. So if you're wanted, you couldn't do it. But then, if someone's after you with a bounty and you're not wanted, someone's put a bounty on your head. You still circumvent that as well. So yeah, I don't.
But I guess if you do have a bounty on your head and you're daft enough to get on public transport and log off because it's automated, then technically you're not there to stop yourself being caught. And if you're spotted in whatever way that the NPCs recognize you, or the scanners as you get on board, as you check in, then the authorities will be waiting for you. Sorry, miss. So it's like there are ways that obviously there is a way they could do it. Whether it should be done is the debate. And then it goes personally down. I think it would be a good idea for those who can't play, and I understand why, but I don't think I'll be using it. It is fast travel. I tend to switch fast travel off until I'm gutted that I've switched it off and find that walking stick and then zoom my way across Skyrim.
Wow. I mean, I've played arguments for both of when you fast travel in certain MMOs, and you feel like you don't want it, and then there's times that you want to use it. You feel like it, and then once you've used it, you feel like you've cheated the game by not walking there manually. But in the same breath, I've got a piece of content that I want to go and play with friends, and I can't fucking do it because I can't get there. So it's different. It's a really weird one. It's a real difficult one. And Coffee Hall is right. That is one way that may work if they allow you to hire someone to fly your ship. That is definitely a way to possibly do it. I think, like Max said, that there is potential, but it's like allowing your player to be AI controlled. But you could have the risk of, all right, if you want to use public transport, fine, but your player will actually be in game and people can actually attack you. So that's possible, but the programming and everything behind that is just, could drive you mad. So probably not, I would say.
Probably.
So I think that was mostly it for Calling All Devs, wasn't it? Working on trains. We know that.
Yeah, sorry, I realised I actually left that out of my start. I just had this little note at the end that they'd mentioned, which apparently they're trying to make the train tracks procedurally generated, and the same goes for elevators, which speeds up development. Not like randomly there's fucking train tracks everywhere around the planet.
You just wake up and it's just like, boom, put some train tracks down.
Elevator here for some reason. But again, it's the distribution, isn't it? That's why I didn't say just read it out, because it wouldn't make any sense to someone reading that. It's the idea that they're laying tracks procedurally that make sense to the location, that will be handcrafted but speed up the development rather than having to each track individually laid down. And like when you're playing those Command and Conquer style game, you're just putting every little thing down, or SimCity things. So it's good. Again, they're working on ways and tools to make things done quickly, and especially when it comes to landing locations. Lorville probably took quite a long time to create. Artcore again takes time to create, but instead of just going like, right, let's handcraft everything, they're thinking long term. It's clearly going to take us a long time to create all of these landing locations on these hundreds of planets, hundreds of systems.
We discussed it the other day a bit as well, like the ArtCorp. Like, imagine, like, if you see from the demos, like how big Hurston was. Like, the planet itself is absolutely massive, and so imagine filling that with a whole city and trying not to make it all look identical and boring and the same. I mean, it's just mind blowing to even imagine a whole planet like that, because we've never seen anything like that before. Everything's been, anytime you go into a city, like even Cyberpunk, the new one, it's a restricted zone, it's a certain area. So to think of, I mean, I'm not surprised it's delayed. I'm even surprised that they're attempting to do that planet as a recent planet rather than one far off and bringing us a jungle planet instead. It's crazy to think about it. But they did mention how they, and this is what I also think makes it more difficult, because they mentioned that they want to, so on Reverse the Verse, about making it feel like a lived-in universe. So having a city that big and making it feel lived in is a freaking challenge in its own right. It's just going to be insane. And then on top of that, they added, like, it's I think I put on there, it's like a bit like going down the rabbit hole, but they as soon as they had it so that you can dress a location and you can pick objects up that you interact with, they're kind of stuffed, because once you can pick up one item, it makes no sense that you can't pick up other items. So like it's great that you've put it in, but I wonder if there's part of me thinking, fuck, why did we add this mechanic? Because it on a small level, when you're talking about your easy hab, fantastic. You know, you can grab your stuff, you can put it wherever you want, you can put your posters up, beautiful. Then you start thinking, okay, well, now we've got to do that for this like room and building outside. Okay, still probably doable. We can chuck tin cans around, we can go into a bar and mess around with all the drinks. Oh, but now we've got to do it on a 10 times scale for a whole city, for a whole planet. It's like, oh my god.
And then hundreds of systems with all. I'm going to be walking around the residential areas, picking up all the shit and putting it on the table. Who's knocked this off? Oh my god!
For God's sake, being the cleaner of the
stealing
universe.
people's drinks in the bar. Seeing if they run after me. Yoink, yoink, yoink.
Yeah, I really like those two guys from the latest RTV. The explanation they did was really well.
The two newbies.
How they look in the real world at train stations, metro stations, that sort of things. It's awesome. And I'm wondering, how big is their team? If are they the only two who are working on Hurston?
Just them two.
About 5'8".
Is there 20 other people who are working on different planets? And
well, they have 500 staff, so there must be some doing something.
I hope
Not
so.
Just...
I hope so.
But they're always hiring, aren't they? Is it environmental art or is it?
Something like environmental artist.
Yeah. I mean, they are literally hiring for everything, but I would say that comes under environmental art, I would have thought. Because it's all about like you said, set dressing a location and making it believable, making it feel real. But yeah, it's I just can't even imagine having so many objects to try and sprinkle around and be able to inspect.
That will mean that a lot of the objects that we have become accustomed seeing and love will disappear. Will they replace them with the ones that you can interact with, or will they just replace them completely, you know?
Like, I think they will.
So you mean if you get like someone like you who just clears all the trash up and moves it to a different area, and then that
you come in my hub, like I collect things.
It's like saying, oh, Hurston's a real shithole and it's really messy, and then one day someone will land there and it'll be spotless because you've just gone around and cleared every piece of shit up. It's like no, it's really clean.
So you're walking around with all this fucking empty bottles and ashtrays and shit. I've told you to keep this area clean. I've put in a complaint to Hurston. L19 will be resolved from you layabouts. I've gone too far. Carry on.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
There's a whole mess to be made when they're going that route.
Yeah. They said. I mean, I wonder if once you've interacted with the stuff, it disappears eventually. Because they said that with like if you leave your ship and things like that. So maybe once it's counted as being interacted with, it would disappear from wherever you dropped it. Maybe I don't.
Well, that currently happens with weapons when you're trying to pass a weapon onto a mate. But I don't know if that's going to work, because if you interact with something and then throw it in your hub or drop it in your hub,
because you know people will
disappear.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you find this really rare Jean.
I own this
artifact that or Tavera artifact that you found, and you sort of like, oh, just drop it here because we got on a mission. You come back and it's like, what? It's despawned.
Yeah. Oh, that should be persistent. But if they're gonna throw away my coffee, then I'm gonna be mad.
I'm gonna cause a riot.
Oh my god! I just poured my coffee and it's gone. Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult because they did say about like when you take a ship and stealing it, and it counts as like the ownership type of thing. But then even that, they said if you steal a ship, it's only going to be available to you while you're logged in, and then it becomes like junk. You can either junk it or
it's going to be legal ownership or physical ownership, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
you
still
have physical
own it.
ownership.
You won't despawn or anything, but if you go somewhere and they're like, wait a minute, or like you get scanned, like that doesn't legally belong to you, but you physically have access to it, then it's not going to just despawn, if that's what you mean.
I thought they said that if you're just a physical owner, not the legal owner, and you log off, it will no longer be yours when you come back. So you can like scrap it in the session that you're playing. I don't know. I mean, they change their mind all the time, but I thought that was kind of what they said, because they couldn't get away with the whole to stop in that whole exploitation of you take someone's ship, they claim it on insurance, and then you've got a ship, and then they've got a ship. So it's like, well, you can nick stuff, but you're only going to be able to turn it into scrap. You're not actually going to be able to nick it and say, this is now my ship.
But that might be when full persistence comes in. Like he says, you can go and drop something on a planet, like I don't know, a fucking PowerPoint controller, for example. You can drop it on a planet, go walk off, and come back again, and it'll still remain there. So when full persistence comes in, then that should technically still, you should still have that ship in the same. It'll despawn if no one's there for the sake of performance-wise. Yeah. But then if someone comes back into the facility, will it respawn for them, or will it just spawn for you? I guess if you have there's going to be like a hierarchy.
Yeah, that's
legal ownership's
fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of those questions that I'm glad I'm not a developer trying to figure that shit out.
Because it's like they sit around a table going, "Oh shit, we didn't think of that. Oh my god." So yeah, it's like if they log out and no one's on it, it would despawn. But then the owner, if they come into the area, does it then reappear and say, "Well, this is your ship, so technically here it is again," or is it just vanished? The answer, Coffee Whore, is no, because he now owns it, not in a Drake ship.
If it's in a Drake ship, it'll just be in a fucking corner where miserable squatting.
Don't forget, guys, exclamation mark, question mark, if you want to ask us a question. Bockbeer wishes to know why his head is looking so big. Please turn off the fisheye effect. I think that's your own glasses.
Yeah, it is.
We need a honey wagon ship. Yeah, we do. We definitely do. I think it's going to be like, because if the objects you touch, does it then become as part of like the ownership scheme thing? I said, well, I now own this, so you can't despawn it. Like, you just imagine, like you said, Mac just going around nicking everybody's drinks and like hoarding them. It's a mine now. Made drinks. Right, let me have a look. What else was there on RTV?
If Mac comes back, I need another beer.
We all need another beer. Let's all just go and get another beer. No,
we
okay.
We can't. That's not professional.
So one of the things they were saying was about the whole lighting budget. So that was one of the things that was interesting, because they obviously spent a shit ton of time making the ships look really pretty and giving them shit tons of lighting effects. Like, well, now that's taken up all the resources that we can't spend too much on making lighting effects on everything else. So it's like a limited thing. So it's like trying to make like Lorville and stuff still look good with the lighting that they've got. That it's just trying to use things with less resources, I suppose. Because obviously they need to make it look good in the nighttime, and that's the other thing that is interesting. So they, you've got link permission, Astropub, no problem. I think anyone can.
Yeah, they're
post in the
gonna
chat
need
panel.
every trick in the book to make every scene as well pretty as possible. And like I said, everything looks better in the sunset. So yeah,
I think it was wasn't it on one of the RTV or something where they basically said, "Oh, could you do this with a ship?" And I said, "Yeah, we could, but the people that have just done all the efficient given object container streaming will kill you because you
yes.
just made all their work pointless when you add a shit ton
Yeah.
more detail." So it's like,
yeah,
yes, we could do it,
efficiency is really
but
important.
no.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like getting that balance between making it look really good and it not completely killing your computer, I suppose. Okay,
Mac
so
is back. Let me get a beer.
since it was asked, and since Astropub has kindly given us the response, I'll have a look what it says. So this is in response to the 15006 issue. It says, okay, so we have an update on this. There are multiple issues that are causing this disconnection error. We identified some symptoms for a few of them, and as well as a potential workaround for them. And in the process of using those workarounds, it causes the load that is being generated to shift from one area to another, which in turn causes a different problem. Wow. So basically, I mean, it's kind of like when everybody started using the offline mode, and it basically took a chunk of their server so you could play offline. So it sounds like basically you doing these workarounds is just causing them issues everywhere else. So
Nice.
has Hurston got a night cycle? I presume so. I don't see why it wouldn't. Everything else spins round. So.
Yeah, they were speaking about it, weren't they? In terms of, in fact, it's one of the questions with the day-night cycle on Lorville. Do you check to ensure that it always looks great at any time of day?
Yeah.
And they say that the L19 residences, the sun sets down that area so that you have the best view, but also they want to give that sort of feeling of like they say that if you go there in daytime and then you come back again at night, it'll feel completely different in terms of what it feels like. But yeah, everywhere will, because if it doesn't at the moment, Trash Stuff, it will eventually. Delamar may be different because that doesn't belong in the actual Stanton system, so it could now be static, whereas the three moons do. And it's an asteroid. Does it rotate like a planet? Probably not. But I've seen it in night and I've seen it in daytime.
Yeah,
but
it's whether
yes,
it orbits
it
or something
will.
orbits it, really, I suppose.
They'll all have day-night cycles, which will vary depending on their orbit. And when they get orbits in properly, then you'll see it more appropriately. But yeah, Hurston will have a day-night cycle.
I presume they'll eventually. I suppose with the whole. Where's he fucking gone again? I thought he's just running away. It's like I'm
More
going.
beer.
Oh shit! That's what I was talking about now. The subsumption. That's what I was going to say. With the subsumption, they were talking about having like people having lives. It's going to be interesting to see how the NPCs change during night and like are we going to experience like a whole nightlife? And so you're going to Lorville at night, and all of a sudden it won't be party because it's a shithole, but
crazy zombies.
Yeah, you just see like all these people going out for drinks at night and more partying or whatever because it's nighttime and clocking off work and things.
Well, yeah, you'll see like a variation in people. Instead of having the workers, you'll see the vagrants, you'll see the dealers or whatever, the people that are a bit shady, and also you may get different missions at different times of day based on who's coming out, and because each NPC will have their day-night cycle. And that'll include the mission givers. Like Clovis, I don't expect he will not be sat there 24 hours a day. Why am I still here? He will.
I need a toilet break.
Yeah, I've not been to the toilet in 64 years. He'll definitely be able to sort of walk around. So, like, maybe you'll walk past an alley in the dark depth of Hurston, and they'll be like, "Hey, come over here," and you'll go over and like.
So shady people at night and people in alleys confirmed.
Yes.
No stereotypes here at all, people.
Clovis. Yeah, well, that's it.
But it actually would be, it would be pretty cool to see like someone that's, I don't know, so say like a businessman working in an office during the day, and then at night all of a sudden he turns into like a shady dealer giving you a mission or something. It's like, oh god. And it's just like during the day he's just, that'd be pretty cool. Like seeing him as just like a ordinary guy. Yeah.
I've got 4 kids, mate. I need to make a living.
Kids to
So,
feed.
do you want to buy the cocaine or not?
Don't tell my boss.
But you might see them on the train as well, the train systems. You might see the workers going to work in the daytime, and then on the night time you may see gangs. Gangs, they haven't spoken about that. That's something people should ask. That'll be cool. Walk down.
I'm getting all excited.
It's like, gang warfare, and then it's like, if you wear the right coat, you're in the gang, and if you wear the wrong coat, they'll slice you.
Yeah.
It's there's so much stuff to look forward to, and the more you think about it, the more it's like, oh, we're just on like the surface, of the game at the moment.
It's easy to look at what we have now and be like, well, this isn't good enough, or well, what about that? What about this? But really, if you think in Chris Roberts' head, he wants the very best for everything, and you look at something like Cyberpunk, and when that trailer came out, I'm like, oh, I wish Hurston can't be that detailed, and it's like, yes, it can, and it will. It's just going to come in stages. They can't produce that effect instantly, like they do, because that's been in development for years, and also they're doing it from the ground up with building systems to allow it to be done quicker, but with the same level of detail. With multiplayer, and that's just one landing location on a huge planet surrounded by 4 moons in one system with 12 moons and 4 planets in a whole universe of 100. It's just, the scale is completely different, but it will become to the even more detailed than Cyberpunk.
Absolutely, yeah, or at least the same. But no, it will be more beautiful. I agree on
just
that.
much more.
Yeah.
Good job there, Buck.
yeah.
Lost for words. Oh dear. Sorry, I tried to do a command in chat. So if you do !donate in chat, it takes you to the link to the Stack Up charity fundraiser that the Astropub and a lot of other streamers are doing for the veterans. For some reason, when I did it, my Stream Elements decided to give a link, and I didn't add that link at all. It's probably fucking set in. No, I think it's a built-in command with freaking Stream Elements or something. But it's the one above that says HC Vertigo. So click that one. Go and donate to the actual charity, not to me. To the charity.
It's not Star Citizen veterans. It's actual people who have done actual things.
Yes,
with
people
lives.
that actually risked their life. We showed the video at the start, and also if you're watching this on YouTube, as I said, there'll be links in the details below, so you can go and have a look at all the details about it and go and donate and do awesome stuff for the people that do awesome stuff for us. So ignore the Steam Elements one, please.
Big shout out to the veterans as well. Thank you, guys.
Exactly. And I think part of the reason, like the Astropub and people have got on board with this as well, is because we do have quite a few military people that play. It's a sort of game that appeals to them as well, and it's all about gaming and stuff. So it's
retired and current as well. Actually,
talking about the 2.63 veterans, madness for one. Remember the days.
Remember the Hanger Module veterans?
By the way, XO mentioned that there is a new PTU patch.
Oh, a PTU patch?
Sorry, PU.
I was going to say. Mind you,
is
PTU
this the 1500? It can't be that fixed, can it? Not yet.
Possible.
Come on, Moderatus. Come on, cheer up, mate.
I thought Moderatus said, I'm going to stop moaning when they release Hurston, and then it's like, well, they're almost that close. Yeah.
Then I think you got a beer down him and started again, didn't you?
And then he realised, actually, no, I need to carry on whinging about it.
Wait a minute.
So there was a talk about the physical trains that added a lot of complexity to the game, and Chris was very specific about them. So they add a whole other feel. I don't know what do they mean by he was very specific about it.
Well,
we need trains that run on tracks.
Chris really wanted trains that were physically rendered in the game and running at a time schedule. He wants it to feel real rather than you jump on a train and then it fades to black and you then arrive at your destination.
Yeah. I mean,
this is the thing. It's good to see that. It's good to have that.
Sorry, I'm just working out what's NDA. Yeah, so forget that one. Fuck's sake. I hate this NDA shit. So the ability for players to get around is very important, and they're thinking of it as a sort of theme park design. So the ability to look over to somewhere and say, "Oh, that's where I want to go," and so having lots of vista shots and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. They want to make sure that it's kind of slightly instinctive. You can kind of see where the teaser spaceport is and generally know the direction you need to head in, but there needs to be a lot of signage around these places. And if you've ever walked around these big ships where you get on board and you think, right, I thought I knew the way to engineering, like the Starfarer when that first came out, people were getting lost. And we've heard,
I'm still lost.
Yeah, no, exactly. You turn one corner and you think, okay, I'm completely fucking wrong about this.
Yeah.
And it's the same with these huge ships when they're working. Like when we did the tour of the UK studio a year ago or 2 years ago, they were struggling to walk around the capital ships when they were built, like the Javelin and whatnot, because they're so big. And if you think that's ship, when you come down to a landing location, they're even bigger. So having the maps, and it's the same with anyway. You go to a town, there needs to be some sort of map on your mobiGlas, because the first thing I do is bring up Google Maps and I find the nearest pub, and then and then you get a pint, and then you figure out where you need to actually go.
Yeah.
So it's like you need
perfect way to treble.
Yeah, to treble.
To treble, trouble, travel. What are you on about?
What am I on about?
What are you on about? Travel.
Yeah, but no, it's true. They need to have good signage, and they need to make sure that it's, people can tend to understand to a point where they need to go. But ultimately, you are going to get lost, and it's about learning the map.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger stuff gets, the more complex the layout gets, the more it's like, where the fuck am I going? And it was funny because I remember the devs talking about that on the capital ship, and not just that, but like working on they said, so we're working on an area, and then they have to go and look somewhere else for like a reference point, and then it's like, shit, where did I last start working? So they have to try, even just on the ship, trying to find out where they were last working.
Yeah,
because the ship's so massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, to try and do that on like Lorville or something like that is just probably insane. Because I get lost in the back of a freelancer.
But that's in the back of a freelancer. But that's going to be quite fun though, because you will have where you buy a habitation pod. That will be your home.
Never find it again.
Well, yeah, true. But like, if you have people that come and visit you, who have never been to that location before, eventually, over time, you living in that location, constantly going to get your ship, going to the shops, doing like in real life, you will get to know that location. Then your friends will come and say, "Okay, this is your address. We've tracked you down. Like, where do we go to buy some armor?" And then you will take them to that place. You'll know your location. They'll know their location. You're not going to know the layout for every single location. And that's the fun thing about it. You are going to get lost. And that's what makes it feel realistic. Why is everyone frozen but miserable?
I don't know. For some reason, my fucking camera decided to leave.
You sound like a robot now.
Hello.
It decided to leave Skype. And I don't know what the fuck it's doing. And I've just added you, but it's still not working.
Which way am I looking? I'll try and make it so that I
was
look
going
like the same.
so well, and now the end.
Yeah, the audio's gone really weird for you.
Is the missus using internet again?
She's in bed.
Go and have a word with her. All I can hear is just air, static.
Can you really? Hang on, let me go.
No, for me you're sounding okay.
Oh, okay.
God.
In the beginning, when you reconnected, it was like robotic, but now it's good.
It was a bit. It was quite fun.
Yeah.
Is my audio back?
I can hear you all right.
I can hear you perfectly clear.
Okay.
There's just sort of background static for me, but not for you though. But
let's see if that helps. So I don't know why. I've joined the Skype call again because basically it kicked me out of Skype, and now you two are frozen. But you're not frozen on Skype anymore. The NDI is just refusing to work.
Should we rejoin Skype?
Yes, and I'll throw everyone's faces around.
Yeah, see if you can rejoin Skype.
Yeah, they can hear us all. They can all hear us, so
yeah,
we can technically do a frozen stream. Blame the missus.
Yeah,
okay. Let me try
thing and come back because it's so the whole NDI thing is that people should be able to leave and come back, and if there's some weird reason, I quit Skype without quitting Skype. This is why we don't like fucking. But it did work.
So where's
most of
that
the
link
day.
again? In your Twitter, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's not working. Let me. If I can try this. Break it.
Technical issues.
Okay, that bit works. Let's go back to that.
Patches
Everybody,
being
talk
pushed.
amongst yourself. It's fine. Exclamation mark question. Go and ask us some questions. It just won't pick you guys up on NDI anymore.
Oh, I can see your OBS.
What's going?
Yeah, it didn't seem to be loading Twitter either.
Let it go. Let it go.
Bock is a PC.
Bock
I
is
don't
a PC,
Let me
yes.
try.
It was going so well, and this whole idea was like, this is perfect. Everything's good.
And it was good. It was freaking working. But now,
I think you end the call. I think.
let's
In
restart
fact, hang
the
on.
call.
Let me end the call. Yeah, because it's
Oh,
not
there
loading
we
up
go.
at all.
Bock
I
links
can't
it, there we
find
go. Right.
your link.
Let's all
Did
listen
you
to the
just kick
wonderful.
me out? Oh, how rude. How rude.
Go for it. We all get to listen to the Skype music.
Yeah. Woo!
I blame Christian. It was going fine until he turned up.
There we are. Oh,
And that mute Skype.
yeah.
Da, 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 da.
It's fucked. Just not picking it. Oh, there you go. We got Bock.
Yeah.
back.
Woohoo!
See if I
Bock
can
is
get
back.
Mac back.
Not Mac back. Mac's not back. Are we anywhere closer?
We've got Bock. I don't know what you've done. You've broken.
I agree with Viking X. It gives me nightmares. the whole Skype thing.
That music. Yeah, it is. It's like it's funny when you're on holiday. We've got two working with Bock.
Let me try to turn it off and on.
Now it's frozen Bock.
Oh, have I? Oh no, box where I was.
Hey!
Who of you?
No.
I'll try re-adding it as a thing.
The way it's frozen right now, it's really awkward. It looks like I'm pulling something out of my arse.
Give me 2 minutes.
Oh, it's stuck. It's stuck.
Speed is coming basically as
Honey.
oh my
Yeah, the
God.
shirt just says it all, doesn't it? Yeah.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Don't worry.
Right, come out of the call again. My Skype's just
We got it all
crashed.
covered.
My Skype
Okay.
has literally just crashed.
Oh my god.
Look at this one, it's even better.
Horrible, horrible. No, that is undignified, yes, Repop says.
Oh god.
What the hell? Looks
Boxing
like I've got a
Saturday.
tattoo in my neck.
It does.
So- Oh no, I didn't mean to do that one. Stop it, I didn't do the video call. Right, good. Oh, the NDI was doing so well.
Oh,
I don't dare pull any faces anymore. I'm just gonna sit statically.
Box works, but Max doesn't. You broke it, Mac. Are
must have
you in
done.
the wrong version of Skype?
No, it's actually the right person.
No, the wrong version of Skype.
Oh no, I'm just clicking your link though, aren't I?
No.
Squatty Potty helps with that.
I'm
I'm
answering
version
your
of
call.
Skype are you in? Yeah, but what version of Skype are you on? Have you got the
How
go
do
to
I
your
check?
settings and check you got it? Does it say stop NDI in the top left? Sorry guys, this is total fuck up.
Oh, I see what you mean. Let me have a look then. Yeah, it could
Does it say on the top left stop NDI? I bet it doesn't.
advanced. No, I've turned it on. So allow NDI usage.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's working fine.
All good. It's all there's nothing wrong here.
Wasn't prepared for this at all.
oh, you're gonna join the asylum, they said. It's gonna be fun, they said.
Look, we've had at least 2 hours of no problems, and now it's just Mac that's fucking it
True.
up.
No, yeah.
Oh, whoa, hang
Big
on.
thumbs
It
up.
suddenly became me as the problem.
It is you as a problem. It was Box is working.
Hey, Redlear, how are you doing, buddy?
There's an update music.
We need a polka command in here, folks.
Just put up like a
I'm
picture of
gonna
me. That's
Try
it.
and
You
do
don't
a
need.
fucking.
You're already on it, aren't you?
Video capture device. No, not that one. Window capture. That'll do. Or I
If
can't.
I turn video off and then turn it on again.
Redlear, that emote is amazing, man.
Nice. It exactly explains the situation right now.
Pretty much. It was going so well.
Yep. We overdid it. We overdid it a bit.
I think we went too long. That's what it was basically the thing
Yeah.
saying, "Look,
Yeah.
stop doing it."
Like you haven't paid for this amount of time.
Yeah, we've got it. I'll do it this way. Fuck you, NDI. Fuck you.
NDA or NDI?
Yeah,
I keep hearing A.
both actually.
I made the
There we
most handsome emote I could. Well, it worked out. How's Trouble doing, by the way, Redlear?
I could try and update Skype. There is a button to click it
Oh,
if you want me
I
to
can
do
see
it.
Mac.
So you're telling me you've got the wrong version of
Oh, I'm
Skype?
back. I'm back.
No, I'm doing
That's-
window capture because it's like, look, there we got 2 box now. So much better.
I'm just like a huge head.
You are just like a huge head. That's the best I can do.
A bobblehead.
Oh wait.
Ooh.
Professionals here, guys. Professionals. I can't do anything else than that.
But under pressure, though, that's pretty good going because I wouldn't
There you
even think to do this.
You're sitting that far on your screen that I can't actually crop you any better anyway. So that's your fault now. Sitting
But you
on-
could do like a chroma key on that, couldn't you?
I could do a fucking chroma. Do you want me to sit here and waste everybody's time while we do a chroma key as well? Okay. Let's do
Yeah.
a chroma key. Fuck it, why not? We're all sitting here
fucking do
enjoying
it.
the show.
Let's do this.
Let's do that. Look, boom, chroma key. Job done.
This is like the equivalent of when your mate at the pub starts going on about something that nobody really cares about, and you just have to sit there and listen for the time it takes. I'm
Like,
generally that mate.
Every time I talk to you.
Yeah.
There
Mhm.
you go. That's Max camera. Yeah.
That looks good. No, that looks all right actually. That's good.
So yeah, NDI was working really well. I don't know why. For some reason, my Skype just had a shit and decided to log off, and it totally fucked everything up.
Blame the missus.
There we go. It was close. We almost had a full show where it was like pretty faultless. Never mind.
Did that happen with Madness?
No, Madness was a lot worse. Madness.
Oh, was
Madness.
it?
We had to waste about 30 minutes at the start of the show. So yeah. So yeah, back fucking noise, right? When
Yeah,
you're
where
on
were we?
holiday and you set like those alerts on your phone to wake you up in the morning, and you're waking up at like stupid times to go and do whatever it is. It's like in the end you grow to hate that fucking alarm ringtone.
Mm.
It's like because it's like, oh my god, and it brings back like nightmares and flashbacks every time you hear it. That's what it's like with
What
Skype.
we're talking about again? Oh,
Well, the
Skype. Sorry, yeah.
ringtone, yeah. You hear that Skype ringtone, it's like, oh
Yeah.
my fucking god, no.
I've got a solution for your ringtone or your alarm sound for your mobile phone. Just put in
Skype.
a Star Citizen music.
And then I'll hate Star Citizen
Clip it.
music. That's
No,
the worst
no,
decision you've ever had.
I've got a Star Citizen alarm sound on my mobile, which is waking me up for more than 2 years now.
And you've also got a little pillow with Pedro Camacho on, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
When you
that's
wake
a
up, it's
good
like,
kind
oh,
of love.
Pedro, you played my favorite song
Oh
again.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Good
It's just
morning,
not
darling.
me. It's like having you in bed next to me. Oh wait, I have.
In his French mansion or wherever he lives.
So, all right, yeah, back on track. Exclamation mark, question mark, guys, if anyone's got any more questions. So the other thing they touched on TV was like the Lorville and like having a specific goal to hit, but in terms of real cities don't end; they just kind of sprawl out. Whereas
Yeah.
obviously in the game that makes it a little bit more difficult. And they kind of have more. But a lot of games you have, they do seem to have like an end point. And I think I talked about this with you, Mac. Like, do you think we're going to see like expansions over time? Like, do we think we'll see cities grow, or do we think that once it's been built and made in the game, is it going to stay that size, or do you
No,
think we'll
we'll-
see like after a few years it'll grow?
Yeah. We won't see it like the traditional expansion pack
No, I didn't
but-
mean like that.
Well, that's what you said. I'm just,
I didn't mention the word pack
joking.
at all. I said, do you
All
think
right,
it's going to
all right.
expand?
Well, no, yeah, they will. What I see coming, and they've spoken about getting roads in. We actually saw some roads maybe 3 years ago, didn't we? They had actual roads. So what will happen is they've laid out the city at the moment of Lorville, for example. I expect as time goes on, like that's the first landing zone we'll have on Hurston, the main landing location, owned by Hurston. There'll be other smaller villages. They've said villages and towns building up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we can sort of build our own locations, like with the Pioneer. And like in my head, I just want to sort of think like, oh, I want to request permission to have a road built from my location to the main road that goes from Lorville to landing zone number 2 of Hurston. So it just joins on. So you can take big cargo trucks from A to B rather than having to take off and fly and stuff. So I would expect planets will definitely expand, and they did touch upon how planets, not planets, but towns or the city of Lorville, they don't want it to just look like it's just been plonked on a planet. Cities don't look like that in real life. They flow off. They have countryside, and then it flows off, and you have all these roads connecting it. It doesn't look like just a walled building. But obviously, they needed to have it walled in for the sake, because they said, didn't they, that when they just had it open, they tested it open, and it was a nightmare. It was very complicated to navigate where to come into and how to get in. So we will see it expand. We'll have like the main city, we'll have the outer skirts of the city. That will then, I expect, expand a little more and become accessible via roads. That will take you to a train station to take you into Lorville, so you're not, like a park and ride. And all the cities and towns will have this sort of experience where it will grow and grow and grow. And eventually we will see cities like, Hurston and places like this, where they've been expanded upon in terms of planetary locations like landing zones, and they'll just keep growing. Whether or not we can go to them all or visit them all or go inside the buildings, I doubt it, but they will connect it, I expect. But that's long term. We're going to get the first landing zone on each planet of Stanton, and then they will add more landing zones, because we're not just going to have one landing location on each planet. Full stop. They've already said it doesn't feel right, and that was with the Arc Core, wasn't it? Area 18 was to be the only landing location on Arc Core. Then they were like, doesn't seem right. Let's have Area 19, Area 21, areas, and there'll be other locations, and they'll be the same for Hurston and everything else.
Would be nice if they would connect it to some kind of mission chain that's going on, like some kind of superpower is starting to stir things up and want to have his base on the surface of the planet, and slowly there's a whole city being built, and you're getting sucked into a story, and you see it evolving on the surface of the.
Like we help build it in a way. Like we
something like that, yeah. Like in Elite Dangerous, you will have these user missions by helping creating a space station, but you can do it in Star Citizen on the surface of a planet or moon. Let it be dynamic, and CIG can actually create that city slowly, bit by bit. Because if you're gonna do that via user generation, generic stuff, it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, that is true.
So let's keep that into the hands of CIG, and if you can put in some player housing, like they promised, like building small outposts here and there, that's okay. But whole cities made by players, that would be not the way to go, because that will definitely not look like Hurston, the R Corp or whatever.
It'll look a mess, won't it?
That's a mess. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Like in some ways, I was kind of thinking, in terms of like how the Art Corp, we had the social module and they had bits blocked off where it was like frame, you had all the framing and everything else. It looked like it was under construction. It'd be interesting to see if kind of like they would do that like a certain edge of the city. You would see it framed off for now, so you can't get there. But you actually get
just like the
constructed and
business district now.
Well, it could be that the trains just don't stop at that point. Like if you look at the transit line, if the business district is on the transit line, if you look at the from the CitizenCon demo, but surely there won't be any trains taking you there if it's not ready. Otherwise, you'll go and it'll just be this big hole.
Yeah.
It won't be a big hole, but so they'll open it up as they develop it further.
Yeah, and I do hope that that would be a nice thing to have, and I've had it in other games where, same with like maybe building like a whole station in terms of if you have like a mission to deliver supplies to this place, and so if it doesn't get supplies, it doesn't get made. But if people deliver the cargo and get the supplies, I mean, that would be really good fun gameplay because then it makes people feel like they've actually helped build that station.
That's what's happening in Elite Dangerous. You can supply with materials and stuff, and you will slowly see the station being built.
That's, I think, what they do mean by this economy that is player-driven, but it's also like the NPCs will kind of drive the economy, but the players will have an effect on it. And anything that's happening, if they need a certain material, then obviously that Hurston will request, we need this material, and the demand for that will come up. Loads of jobs will come up for that material. And that's why if you are mining something, if it doesn't have a good value now, not now, as in like the current 3.3, but in the game, hold on to it. Until maybe the demand comes for it, or create the demand for it by creating a lack of it. But if they're going to expand a city, there will be certain materials and minerals that they need to do that, and they will push out jobs to NPCs. And if no players accept the jobs, then NPCs will over time start taking these missions on. Maybe not to the scale that players can create, but when they start bringing these in, and that will then create more demand for escorts. It'll also create more not demand, but intrigue by pirates thinking, right, well, these are good hits. We can pick off a few of these people here. And so it'll all flow itself. And I think that's a good way of developing these cities rather than, and like with Grand Theft Auto, you saw it was in fiction when the bridge would open and allow you to travel further afield. It wasn't like, okay, now we've finished this section. Not that it was done like that anyway, but now we finished this section, so we're opening it up. They keep it in lore with Star Citizen. So we're now expanding the business district. So, there'll be advertisements hopefully everywhere saying the business district is expanding. You can eventually start going to see it on this date, and then it'll open up and it'll be a big thing. Maybe not initially, but down the line, there'll be things like the release of the 2950 Aurora. It'll be in-game. It won't be a big thing on the website as much as it is now. It'll be more in-game as well. If that makes sense. I waffled like crazy there.
No, but I think it's a good point, and I do think it's like a good gameplay scenario. As Christian said, you can rob them and sell it back to them. But no, I mean, I've seen it in Jumpgate. They had them where it was actually to build a new ship. And so they had three different factions, and it was like a race to what faction helped their own faction quick enough to build a ship. And so it would be all like this research and development, and they'd have to send like materials and everything else. And the one that came first got their ship made, where it's like beat the competition sort of thing. So I mean, having that sort of mechanic and that sort of quest in game or task or mission, whatever you want to call it, I keep calling them quest. It opens up so much more gameplay, because then you've got like the race to get your own thing created. You've got the pirating to destroy other people and stop theirs getting made. You've got there's so many different options, things that you can create from that. But you see blockades happening. You can see resources running out. Then it gives miners an excuse to go and mine a certain material rather than the most profitable material. So instead of being like, oh, we always have to have gold because it's worth the most, the price of other material may well go up because this place needs it. So it creates such a massive amount of gameplay from it.
Jobs create jobs. Create jobs for all different areas of the game. That's it. Because if you think like Hurston say, right, we're going to expand. We need, I don't know, fucking titanium. The job goes out for titanium. So that means all the miners are going to go out in their prospectors and their Orions. They're going to go and mine and find titanium, and then when they start mining it, they'll need either refineries to start or cargo haulers to transport that goods from A to B. They need escorts to protect them, because the pirates will think, right, there's going to be a big surge, but let's go here and start fighting for that. And it's just a whole flow of the economy, and that's why the economy drives itself. And it's such a clever system, but obviously it's going to be difficult to do it right. It's just going to take time and balancing. And when that comes in, life is out the window. Who needs life?
I fucked my own camera up now.
Miserable is not amused.
I'm not amused with these comments.
Somebody screenshot that shit. We need to. Oh, he's gone. We need to use that face.
To screenshot that shit. I've got too many faces out there as it is. I'm not amused. Basically, the NDI is crashed on my PC, so it's not recognizing any NDI at all.
If you're ever watching Chris Roberts on camera, just keep pausing him every now and again, because he gets the best faces.
Because when you're doing the podcast and you have to make notes and stuff, you're pausing it constantly, and every time I seem to pause it in a funny face pose. It's the amount of faces people pull when you're doing that. It's so funny.
We need some captions in chat for Miserable's face, please, guys.
You are.
I told you to go to Hobbiton.
If I fuck it
Why
up,
did
it's
you
gonna
return so early? Look at that face.
If I close it completely, it's gonna ruin Bock as well. So.
Bock's already
we've got a
ruined.
couple more questions.
Can't get any worse, guys. This face is. That's it.
That's
all you're gonna get.
My serious face. Well, someone did challenge me in chat to talk without moving my lips, so there you go. Challenge accepted.
Which lips?
That face when you get the 15k bug.
So King Gear Gaming asks, what is the first thing you plan to do when the game reaches beta? Playable state, more content, 12 pillars type of deal.
Making money.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking hell, it depends on what is introduced during the time of
beta. Should be feature complete, right? Isn't that what beta is? So
yeah, but then I would like to think, go salvaging, but we're going to get salvaging before it's beta. I'm probably overthinking it, but we'll get salvaging first. I would do salvaging. I'd probably salvage the shit out of my life that I just think, I can't be bothered salvaging when it goes to beta. I'll go and plant some crops. There you go.
I'm gonna breed some goats.
We're gonna breed some goats.
Yeah, that's my life goal. Running my tavern and breeding goats on the side.
Life goal.
Is that real life goal or actually game goal?
Game goal.
It mixes the two together. It's all the same.
Yeah.
And you, Miss? Who is not amused?
I'm just not amused with this right now. I'm going to look at it and go, Bockbiertje, I want the live release. Yeah, it's difficult because we obviously, some people don't play the game until certain patches and things, so I suppose beta would mean a lot more to them. Whereas when we're playing every patch and every edition, it's not like something magic's going to happen when we go from final alpha to beta. It's you know what I mean? We're going to have everything and it'll be like, okay, it's stable enough, let's release it to beta. So
we'll get in game.
Yeah, I suppose if you thought of it like a term of, okay, so once it hits beta, there shouldn't be any wipes until the end of beta. Then I suppose, working probably by then, hopefully we'll have the org, and I would probably practice and start looking into how I want to play the game once it's finally released. So look how smuggling works, maybe try and set up some contacts and actually start like a smuggling ring or whatever, and get it ready for when it's live. It's like you know what you're doing, sort of thing.
What I think would be really cool is by beta, maybe we have the Pioneer. The org is more established with more, usable features. I think when beta comes for the first time, maybe going out as an org and finding a plot of land with the land claims that we can call the org's land, its base, its headquarters, and establishing that, sending off the deeds, receiving the deeds, building the outposts, building the storage facilities, the landing pads, and just that sort of... Because when beta comes, surely that means server meshing is in, which means we have the higher numbers of players. So we're 50 now, server side OCS maybe 200, server meshing maybe 1,000. We can have all the org members in one area at once together, playing together with all the ships. Frame rate of about 6, but it's still, we're all going to be together. So I think maybe getting everyone in game, you know, choosing your land as your established land, because like you say,
Like
beta
a
is when
land
they're going
grab thing. Yeah, massive like
Yeah.
land grab.
We are
And
going
that's
to
when
have such
persistence
a
is
big
in.
advantage of
Yeah,
everybody
buddy.
else.
Yeah, buddy. But yeah, no, it's going to be fun.
No
Is that
advantages. There's no pay to win.
special effects?
That's the only bot I've got loaded on there. Fine.
Or you need to leave your face on, or at least have your bot pointing at your face.
We're professionals here, Mac. We don't do that sort of thing.
Yeah, what about 1,000+
Ow.
player orgs?
It looks like he's rubbing my chin.
Well, yeah, I mean, even the 1,000 orgs, they're not going to have all the players in because. Yeah, nice. Stick it in your nose. I always feel like Simon Pegg when
I
we
am
start
not
getting a bit
amused.
stupid.
So
But
yeah,
I think something multiple players, like more than 50, would be good.
Hmm.
And that's beta, technically, because that's all the core tech is in. It's now building
Okay.
the planets, the shit and stuff.
So the next question is, this is quite an interesting one actually, and one I've not thought too much about for Star Citizen, but from GoTo, and he says it should have put a Chinese name there. They would have made it so much more. Anyway, do you see China farmers as a problem? So, like, obviously in like other MMOs, there's always gold farmers, and they cause a lot of issues because they go around and they just like 24/7 like mop around, kill stuff, make money, and then sell the gold off. And they tend to cause a lot of harm. Probably.
Anyone doing that sort of thing, which is kind of in game, but I take it they exploit a certain mechanic, do they, to do that?
They sometimes run like scripts and stuff that'll do it.
Yeah, bots and shit.
Because CIG may crack down on that, you know, in the future they may figure a way of stopping that sort of thing from happening. But if that's the case, I think the universe is probably going to be big enough to allow people to venture on. And if they see that sort of thing happening, the game master will come in and be like, "Hell no, motherfucker."
Yeah, I don't think you can avoid it. It's happening in a lot of games, and it will probably happen in Star Citizen as well. Active moderating and that sort of stuff with game masters or whatever.
But
that's the only thing.
They always seem to find, like, obviously this is speculative because we don't know yet.
Sure.
But CIG, not Christian, you know, I don't know what he gets up to, but the rest of CIG.
He just sits on trains all day. It's like
he just sits watching streams, on trains. But yeah, they seem to find a way of, you know, like how every time there's a new Rockstar game, it's like, oh, they've pushed game development a little bit further each time. CIG seem to just like literally bombard shit out the way. They're like, no, this is how it's done, and it's like, wow, okay, I never even considered that being an option. They will. I'm quite confident they will find ways because they've got the finances to do that. They technically have the people. They just need more people. And this is sort of showing when you've got all the money that you need, and hopefully sooner or later all the people you need who know what they're doing, they can find a way of stopping that. Now, obviously, it's kind of an ongoing battle. You find the cheats, you stop them. They find the way that you're stopping them. They cheat again. Then you stop them, and then it's like an ongoing battle that seems to constantly evolve.
Oh yes.
And I feel like CIG will be able to, because there's real money that's got into this game in terms of backing the game, they will have certain ways that will not eradicate it because it's always going to be a problem, and they'll always find, you know, the hackers tend to be better than the actual developers. But I'm quite confident they will find a way to stop this sort of thing from happening, or or at least patch it for a little bit until they find a way again. That's just the way it seems to go all the time. But I trust in CIG.
people always will find a way, but it's like they have to get rid of the majority of those kind of people who use exploits or
Hmm.
yeah, use things in certain ways to sell stuff for real money to other people.
Yeah.
It's tough. There are tools out there, but it's not gonna cut it. But yeah, we will see what happens in the future.
Hopefully, it's not game breaking. Basically.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those problems it's haunted MMOs for a long time, and generally it comes down to
Every game.
normally the mechanic of the game that helps them and drives them away, because they're not needed. And so, in a similar way, if you can purchase credits from CIG, which they've said that is probably going to be a thing, then you don't need a gold farmer. So then, and also, it's not like an MMO where you can just go to a spot and just keep farming the same thing over and over. It's going to be a lot more complex to actually earn money in
That's
this game.
true.
It might not be feasible for them to do it, to be honest. So that might be what we'll say more than anything.
I think as soon as CIG see an exploit, they will work to stop that. And I'm pretty sure that over time, like the current need for employers will change. Like the type, they need artists, they need developers, they need animators, and all this sort of thing. That will change once the game is finished. They won't need that as much anymore. They will need game masters. They'll need people that are moderators and people like that will maintain the game. And I think a lot of backers will sign up for that sort of thing. And I don't know. I can't expect there to be a lack of people wanting to make this game great by signing up some of their time and then being employed by CIG to ensure that people who are exploiting it get found out and reported and then changed and whatnot. So it's something that I think they will address and will be able to keep up with, but inevitably it's going to be not easy. It's going to be ways that they exploit it.
The thing with them though is that it needs to be profitable for them, or those won't bother. And if it takes too long for them to earn money to then sell it, they'll just think this isn't a game that's worth it. Time will tell, I suppose, on that one. Okay, we have one more question. We'll do that, and then I think we'll wrap it up for the night before my computer has gets rid of everybody on the screen. So this is from Stengun, and he says, does Squadron 42 need expanded medical gameplay, or is just a healing pen enough?
I think it definitely needs expanded gameplay.
Yes. And it will.
And that, again, may drive the medical mechanic
to come out
in
sooner.
PU. Yeah, because it would be so lame if your buddy's dying next to you and you build up this massive bond and you're like, oh, not like real life, I mean, like, AI character. And you're like, I just keep getting myself with the med pens. Why can't I give it to him, for God's sake? I've bought 20 med pens. So yeah, they definitely need to expand it, because at the moment it's a placeholder. It's not anything like what the medic mechanic is going to be like. It is simply a placeholder for the sake of just, we need to make sure that you can revive yourself to some degree.
Like, you get all this dramatic scene, and all the sparks are flying everywhere, the music's kicking, and you've got someone dying in your lap, and I'll save you, and you just pull out a med pen and just go crack into their chest and go, there you go. Fine.
No, I hope they will expand it with, well, I wanted to say a heart massage, but that's not gonna cut it with a bullet wound,
Stick your hand in the chest cavity and start massaging the heart.
But make it more realistic, applying pressure onto wounds or
do you know
whatever.
about the new mechanics where you can grab stuff and take it out and inspect
exactly.
it? You'll be able to stick your hand in, grab the heart, and pull it out, and just go, oh yeah, it's fucked, and just throw it.
You've got a sick mind, miserable.
You said it. I'm just like,
No. I was just saying heart massage.
Finish him.
It's gonna happen inside the chest, not outside the chest.
Well, hang on. Everything else is realistic. You could just slice them open, and
True.
The thing is, they keep trying to expand the gameplay. So, like, it wouldn't surprise me if we get to the medical part where you will actually slice them open and be able to pick an organ and, well, maybe not rip it out to have a look at it, but just
No, that's going
inspect it
too
to see
far.
what's wrong with it. Well, you can do it with the datapad on the computer, so why not?
True.
Doesn't need that
And
heart.
another beer.
Doesn't need that heart anyway, so you just rip it out, have a look. Yeah, it's, we'll
And
replace
put it back
with
in.
a new one. Yeah, put it back in. Bit of sticky tape. It'll be fine.
No, but we have these. What's that
Grabby hands
new
were made
medical
for.
ship? Is that the Hercules? The medical
Apollo.
The
ship?
Apollo.
The Apollo. It's got these drone-like where you lay on
The med bay, the beds.
the beds. So
Yeah.
that's one part of it, and I probably they will expand on that in Squadron 42.
I mean, that might have been a concept ship that's needed for Squadron. Will it come in quite early? But I think that the starting point will be it's going to be broken into tiers with the medical career, and I'm actually really looking forward to this because just being like instead of going into battle like you do in something like Battlefield or COD, where you just shoot if someone dies. Like you're in a team of 4, your mate dies. It's like, maybe if I can revive him. No, oh well, he'll spawn back. It's lives mean something, and when they start introducing that into the game, where if your friend goes down, it's no longer about can we defeat these people here. We need to get this guy back up because I don't want to be left for dead because it's important for me not to die in the game, and I think everyone else will feel the same because we only have so many lives. So being able to have a way of dragging them out of the action, giving them a certain fix-up now to keep them alive until they get back on the bed to get more treatment or back to a hospital. There's going to be so many different tiers, and it's going to be field medic first and foremost, being able to treat yourself in the field, in the action. Then it'll expand to in a ship that's got more ability. I keep looking at Miserable's face and thinking, is he just like really not interested in what I'm saying right now?
I am not amused.
And then it'll sort of go from that to, patching them up even further. And then obviously, go to a hospital, Maria of Hearts in Hurston, properly patched up. So it's that I think, like everything, like the mine, if you look at the mining for now, that has gone from being what we expected, like in your head thinking Minecraft. Yay! Diamond.
Yay.
To being version 1, which is really in depth compared to what I expected for version 1, to now version 2 being actually night and day in terms of what you get from mining, like having the distribution of minerals. That's just mining. They're going to apply the same level of logic, skill, depth to salvage, cargo hauling, medical profession, all these sort of things. So it is going to expand a lot. And if people are interested in the mining career, don't worry about the current status of this med pen. They've already said that is a placeholder, a means to an end, to just ensure that people can revive themselves.
It's a temporary fix for your body.
Yeah, exactly.
But it wears off, and then if you lose your leg,
you look like Rico.
Okay, so we've actually got one more question. I'm going to close the form because we're using it. Viking X
People
says,
keep asking questions. What?
Yeah. Do you? I know. It's like they've never watched this podcast before. Don't you realise? Stop asking questions. Do you think we will ever see huge space battles where you, for instance, have 50+ capital ships on the same 10-kilometer radius, or will it be much more limited due to performance and hardware limitations?
I don't know.
I personally think limited.
It all comes down to the whole cloud-based server meshing stuff. That's
yeah, it does.
I think it also depends on whether, because it was a bit like the face technology where they turned around and said we can't do different face shapes and different face sizes, and then they found a way to do it. So I think initially we're not going to see that because I think it's just going to be too heavy on the hardware and stuff. However, never say never, because if they can come up with a way to allow multiple servers to squish it all in, I think that it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
We don't know. It's something that they may well find in the future that they can do. So,
It's like the way that they're creating the game is so that they can update things as they go. It's not like this is now the game, and then after in a few years when that looks old, we're going to release a brand new game. It's going to be a case of this is the game, we can upgrade the graphics, we can upgrade pretty much everything about the game, and keep it up to date for the next 2-3 decades, potentially more. So yeah, if like with anything, if they find a way that they can do something, they will do it. And that is definitely, like, at the moment, no. Obviously, there's no chance. Server meshing, you're going to see maybe a handful of capital ships all going at it. 50 capital ships.
Even
It
then,
would be
I would
nice.
be really pleased.
Yeah, well,
a
that's
handful
it.
of capital ships.
That would be amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, if they can find a way, they'll do it. If not, I'm sure what we get will be sufficient for now until they can. And don't forget how quick tech evolves.
Oh yes.
We're talking 10 years' time when the game is pretty much all realized. People have been playing it for a few years. If they find a way then, why not? Because 10 years in technology is a blink. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, you're muted,
think,
Miss. Oh, there you are. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
No, I'm just trying to recreate the
Concentrate.
pose. So yeah, we'll end it there. I think it was good answers. I think it is a case of wait and see. But thanks everybody for watching as always. Don't forget !donate, or just for a little while !astropub to have a look at the Stack Up charity that we're supporting, or most of the Star Citizen streaming community is supporting. If you're able to donate, please go and do so. If not, just go and spread the word with Astropub's post on Spectrum. At the very least, please go and give that an upvote for him. He's a very top man that does a lot for the community, so
Absolutely.
definitely worth showing him some love. As always, thank you, Mac, for being a wonderful guest, and to Toby and Bock for joining this crazy team. I bet they're
You're
regretting
welcome.
it already, but it's nice to have
No.
you guys on board, and I look forward to many more. And also, guys, like, this is how dedicated Mr. Bock is. He has actually changed his work plan so that he can come and join us on the podcast every Monday. So he has booked Tuesdays as work at home. So yeah,
I'm standing on my feet at this moment from 5 o'clock this morning, or previous morning.
Yes. So
Please donate chairs to Bockbiertje.
So yeah, guys, we really appreciate it. He is amazing, and yeah, boss is like, you're fired. You're supposed to be working from home. So yeah, well, please welcome them all, and we'll try and get Jester on at some point if we can as well, because he's also joining the team. So it's great to have them. If you missed the start of the show when it was all running so smoothly and NDI wasn't a problem, you can catch up